is up, y'all, and welcome, misfits, to this episode of Skeptic and Ranting Before the Flood. James, it's raining. Well, that's right, we are watching a video from the channel Grace Digital Network called Before the Flood. What was the world like before the flood? But okay, and so won't you join James W. and myself, Amy Newman, for a floodin' good time?
Hello,
that's
sir.
okay. Well, hello. Welcome, everyone, to tonight's episode of Skeptic and Ranting Before the Flood. Thank you for joining us on the intertubes. I can't believe they're able to get so much fun out of just these tubes.
It's not butter.
I can't believe it's not butter. Which, that's why it's not. It's margarine. I love that stuff, though. I'll eat it all day. If you're feeling fancy, please don't forget to like, follow, or subscribe. What's that? Yes, YouTube gods. I said it. I said it. Like, follow, subscribe. Like, follow, subscribe. But then hit that bell icon to all so you get reminders to join our live streams, because subscribing is... you think it would be like the way that you get content for all of the things that you like, but actually it's that damn bell icon. Anyway, what is up, y'all? It allows us to say hello to you, like, what's up, Calasia? What's up, God equals the square root of -1? What's up, Sinister Porpoise? What is up, Zoshalax? I remembered this time. What is up, Church of Robot? Woo! Yeah, that's right. We are having a fantastically flooding good time. Who doesn't love a good flood? Oh. But once again,
the people drowning?
Who's the good guy? Yes, exactly. The people drowning. I will also continually say this. Like, it's just in the back of my head. And I'll say this while we're watching this. But did no one else have boat technology? He was the only guy? Because it just seems like there would be someone out there. There'd be boats.
Well, no, Amy, actually. You see, the pre-flood world, they didn't have, like, large bodies of water like that today. So there would be no need for a boat back then. It was completely unheard of.
Got it? That's the apologetic? There just weren't that big of oceans?
Basically, yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
or they were so far away from... Because remember, the people only lived in the Middle East back then. People hadn't spread out yet. So, maybe they'd never been to the oceans yet. They just had little ponds and canals around them. They didn't have any need for a boat.
It's just so... Okay. Anyway, it just makes too much sense, James. Too much sense. During the show, feel free to tag James W. or myself at Amy Newman with your thoughts, questions, and one-liners, because it makes it easier for us to see your comment. Furthermore, we're a skeptic channel, including the two schmucks that you see before you. However, at the end of the show, and I still think I'm handing it off to you tonight, James, at the open mic, we will allow atheist, theist, liberal, conservative, come as you are, just not on my bookcase, my sheets. There's lots of retail you can aim for. I was looking at the Call Me Scout because I see it's like, well, if you believe that the world is flat, that evolution is a hoax, or that it's 6,000 years old, then OG Willikers call us right away. Well, actually, those are always true. If you are a creationist, please say hi to us. We'll say hi to you.
One of these years, we're going to have to get around to making that Christmas music album that I've been dreaming about for so many years now. I mean,
I'm dreaming of
he's dreaming of
atheist
a
Christmas.
no. It would be Amy's dreaming of a white Christmas.
Well, that is true, James. Can I tell you something? We all bleed red and we all come. Anyway, we want to send love out to all of you out there. I just noticed I cut off. That joke doesn't work because I cut off at the naughty part, which is come. Anyway, there are many ways you can support the show. You can send in super chats. I will dance around. We'll interact with them and just send love back for you sending love to us. You can get channel membership down below with our evolving badge system and emojis. Once again, evolution, especially abiogenesis, which is really the origin of life, but evolution really triggers them.
Oh, we saw Ken debating just the other day.
Yes, that was an interesting debate. And
the thing that's so like, you cannot defeat his script. It is impervious to anything because the points that he's made, like one of them that he makes every time I've addressed with him, and he gets it. He understands it, that it's stupid, but he keeps making the same argument every single time.
15
You can't defeat the script. Yeah, it doesn't pierce the script.
If I hear the words amoeba or a kind comes from the same kind one more time, it probably will make my head explode. Because you will always give birth to the same organism. That is how biology works.
Well, he's always like, what do you mean the layers are different ages? All the layers are the same age. They're all, one layer is not old. All the material on Earth is the same age. You don't know, Kent. We're not talking, when we say the age of a layer, we're not talking about when the molecules themselves were created. Talk about when the layer was laid down. And he's like, okay, I understand that. But then the very next debate, same shit, like, why are they talking about the layers being different ages? They're the same age.
And that is a key of creationism, religion, is this ability not to take in new information. I corrected him on the amoeba thing. There are amoebas in every branch of life. I know that may sound weird, but there are single-celled amoebas. There are multi-celled amoebas. There are amoebas that are closer to fungi. There are amoebas that are closer to animals. So when they say, could you come from an amoeba? Well, yes. It's very easy to see why that one organism actually has its hand in all buckets and where it would branch off. But that isn't really what we're saying. We're saying that all life came from common ancestry. And that we will always give birth the same person. It's just a little bit different.
That's what a while back, that's what Guts and Gibb and Erica was saying, like why it's so frustrating to debate with these, because you go through and some you can prove like their point wrong and everything, and they'll just reassert it like as if you didn't like, no, I just demonstrated that doesn't work, and they just reassert it anyway as if you hadn't just shown it's invalid.
You say stupid things confidently. Listen, the world is 6,000 years old. And James, that's a big number. I mean, come on, 6,000. That's a lot. Oh, I'm sorry. How about 10,000? That's the other thing I get sometimes is like, I'm not a young earther. 6,000 years? 10,000 years. Oh, I'm sorry. 10,000 years. That makes the comparison to 4.5 billion so much closer. But yes, religion, sending love. We are doing a talk about, this guy is basically going through the history all the way up to the flood. They are obsessed with the flood because it's like it's a pinnacle point for them for their science, their made up science, because this is where the diversity of life. Yeah, this is where meat eating comes from.
You know, everything depends on that flood for the geology to work, the continents, everything. They need that flood.
Only other than Adam and Eve, I can't think of any more consequential. And I know they'll say Jesus, but I mean, this is how we get all these different animals throughout the entire world. The diversity of life.
Yeah. You got Adam and Eve, you got the flood, you got the Tower of Babel, these really
the Tower of Babel
pinnacle stories that they need to make it work.
Yeah, there's another science story because that explains how we get different languages. It pisses me off because the actual like God just like kicking down the tower is like a single line, and it's like one sentence, and we have to now fight with these people and try to get them out of our public school system. That is, you know, because they want to fight biology. They want to fight and get their version into the classroom. All right, let's give shout outs and then we'll watch the opposition viewpoint. Send love to everybody out there. We want to thank not only our supporters and our channel members, shout out our Patreons. We really need to do our Patreon-a-thon. That should be our upcoming on the weekend. We should do stuff. I think that's upcoming. Just like we need to do a Bible study because it's important. So that I think is actually on deck. We love our skeptic and rantings, but we also want to have some diversity. So there's the Patreon out there. What's that? That's weird. Why does it say at the bottom of my screen, mission accomplishment shilling? It's very weird. Anyway, thank you all so much out there. We want to thank our supporters. So many lovely people, like the amazing Rachel Holen. Sending love to Rachel, reminding all of us that we should, you know, go to a bar to find cute femboys. We don't have to go to the nations around you and farm them.
I mean, you don't have to, but it is kind of fun, right? Just imagine femboys like crops just in fields, like just growing like corn stalks.
The Great Femboy Crusades. It was a terrible time, James, yet it was really sexy. Sending so much love to Rachel Holen. Sending so much love to Chris Disciple.
Thanks, Rachel.
Chris reminding us that we do have skeptic theists, Christians, Jews, Muslims. The point about being a skeptic is that you question your beliefs. And I always just worry about the people who say they're 100% convinced of anything. And so even that statement, because that's always the first yes. That's how that works. But sending so much love to Chris. He sends us lots of love. We're sending love back. Sending love to Davegar. Reminding us that the world is round, regardless of what the internet algorithm sometimes wants to send our way. Why is it flat earth red pill? What does that even mean? Yes, sending so much love, Davegar. And reminding us that it is also an old Earth, relatively speaking, because 4.5 billion sounds old, but the Earth is, or the universe, 13.7. We're getting up there on universe, and if you think about how much time we actually have left, we're a baby universe. But there's time
we're still crawling around on the floor of the universe. We've just barely gotten started.
This is like, I think we're a phase 3 star. As in, like, the original stars had to live and die, and then another star had to live and die. And now we're here. But, which sounds like a lot, but 3 in terms of the universe? Oh, come on. Eventually, there'll be 1,000 generation. And that's being generous. I'm sure it can go much higher. So, yes, it's not actually that old. It's just old to these people who think that it is a number that you could hold in your bank account, 6,000.
Yeah, the star formation phase of the universe, where stars will be actively forming, is estimated to be about 100 trillion years. So we are not even 1% of the way through.
Not even 1%. Yes, we got to hit our first trillion. Whew. Also, forgive me, boys and girls. I am recovering from a cold, so I'm gonna try.
Yeah, I'm a little allergies myself.
But I'll try to save you all from the million sniffles. And sending love to Dale Pastel. Thank you so much, Dale, reminding us we want evidence, empirical evidence. Because they always ask us, what type of evidence would you accept? I don't know if this is the ACA or Matt Dillahunty or the Line answer. I just hear it more propagated, which is, I don't know what would convince me, but a God would. And I know that almost sounds like a cheap cop-out, but it's not if you think about what a God is. They know everything, and they're everywhere at all times. So to say, who are you to ask for God to take some time off? Doesn't matter. He can see me right now forever, and he'd be fine. He could multitask because he's everywhere.
Plus the fact that God had no problem making his existence readily apparent thousands of years ago. He didn't have to hide then. He didn't have to sneak around. He didn't have to pretend he's not there. No, he would just do shit. He didn't like somebody, he would kill them, or he would supernaturally intervene so that his people could defeat a much larger army. He would do shit.
Funny thing about that, though, once these cameras got invented, all this technology that allowed us to actually capture them, prophets just disappeared. God just disappeared. He's hiding. He's camera shy. Oh my goodness. I finally figured it out. Divine shyness. Oh. Anyway, sending so much love. Last Tuesday, sending for how much love and amazing support they give us, sending so much love to Regos. We have a Skeptic Bible study. We're doing it. It's important. I think atheists read the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, the Bhagavad Gita more than all of the religious people. I mean, not always the case, but I have found even the literalists, the fundamentalists, sometimes are like, hey, buddy, come on. You're not supposed to just look at the words. You're like, what? I'm sorry. Isn't that the whole point? Thank you, Richos. And thank you so much, last. Sorry, not least. Boop, boop, doop, doop, boop. Thank you so much, Ian, reminding us that apologetic arguments suck, and they're all coalescing. There is both a natural selection and gravity going on, because the longer that the internet seems to exist, the more that the arguments seem to just coalesce into something like just one big, vague cosmological argument. I'll keep saying this because that's all we get. They don't even like to give Kalam. Kalam is laughed out of most debate circles. I know some that have been actually... Well, I knew one person that was convinced it, and I hope that he enjoys the next 30... Was it 30, 15? It should have been 30.
Like 12.
12.
Yeah.
That's sad.
It's Ohio.
The amount of years should not be dedicated to how old the person was. Oh, that's a low blow, isn't it, James? Oh, but they kind of their fault. Anyway, yes, we are talking about Before the Flood. I want to thank all of our supporters, everyone in chat.
Wow. Look at that. Look at that.
Oh my goodness. I'm just sending love randomly into the universe. But
thank you so much, Chris.
But also, I know I can't help it, Chris. Even though he says no mention, I just can't help but give you love. You are, as well as a $5 super chat. Thank you so much. That's right, baby. Peace, love, and science. Thank you so much, Khaleesi. I'm sending love. I see Khaleesi all over the internet. It's always fun when I see you over there on things like the line and stuff. So I'm sending you so much love. Sending both of you so much love. And we are, I think, about to get into the opposition viewpoint. James, you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to be right back 1 second. But then I think we're going to get, it's a pretty beefy one. So we're going to go at 1.5. Like I told James.
Like a half an hour regular.
It's a half hour. So we're going to see if we can get that down to 20 minutes. And then we can have some fun in an open mic. So I'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. But we are Skeptic and Ranting Before the Flood. What's up, Richard Madison? What's up, Sandals? What's up, Fecknell and Judith? And I see Rachel and everyone out there. If I didn't see your name, keep on saying hi, and we'll say hi to you. But we are skeptics and we are ranting. James, what is it about this flood?
There's got to be something about that flood, right? Well, you know, it's something they're never going to let go of. It's something that, you know, the fundamentalists anyway, the young earthers, they really need that flood. They really love that flood. So they're going to try to make it work one way or another. And, of course, I think anybody looking at it from with an open mind or with any semblance of objectivity is going to pretty quickly conclude that it's a myth. It's a story. And thank goodness it's a story, right? Like, reading through like a lot of the things in the Old Testament, that all the horrible things that there are, you can at least take solace in the fact that most of them actually didn't happen. It was just a contrived history written centuries after the event supposedly took place. So they didn't actually, most of them anyway, didn't actually take place. Some of them might have been retellings or reworkings of oral legends that had been in circulation, and they wrote it down, canonized it, but any connection to actual reality, mostly probably no. Which is a good thing. So hey, the world didn't flood. If God does exist, He didn't flood the whole world. So yay, that we got that going for Him. The Russell Crowe, I saw that a couple of years ago. I downloaded it. I remember thinking it was okay, but yeah, the Noah movie. I know a lot of Christians didn't like it because they tried to like minimize God in it. They tried to make it as, I believe, naturalistic as possible, minimizing the amount of magic involved in it. But hey, Russell Crowe he's a pretty good actor, so hey. Like you gotta love the classics though. You gotta love Ben-Hur and what's the other one? Oh, Ten Commandments. Got to see that every year on TV. Growing up, the Ten Commandments. There was a flooded gladiator, yeah. Russell Crowe. Well, sometimes they actually used to flood the Coliseum there when they would have their gladiatorial matches, and so they could row boats out there. How they got it to watertight so the water would leak out rapidly, but give enough time to do a show, I don't know, but apparently they did. And that was, yeah. It was a pretty good soundtrack, wasn't it? I haven't watched that Gladiator in probably 10 years, but I remember seeing that in the theater when it came out, and yeah, it was really good. I thought when it came out, still a good movie. I mean, what can you say about Joaquin Phoenix though? He was like his portrayal of the Emperor in that movie was just, I mean, he was the ultimate bad guy. Yeah, such a great job portraying the Emperor. So you heard Amy before. She's saying she wants to do maybe a Patreon-a-thon this weekend, Saturday or Sunday. We'll see about that. Of course, there's always fresh content. This video I just came across maybe 3 or 4 days ago, but there's more coming in the hopper. There's plenty more where this came from. There are always religious people out there saying silly things, making silly arguments. And a lot of times they make them to themselves. They don't think anybody else is listening. It's just them. So they can in that area they can kind of get away with it. They can kind of fudge a little bit because hey, they all believe it. They all want to believe it. They're not really going to scrutinize anything too closely. So yeah. But this is the pre-flood world. What was going on pre-flood? And actually, so much of it comes from these apocryphal, these spurious books that didn't make the canon, but they rely on them more and more. Like books like Enoch and Jasher, that the church, when they were compiling the Bible, thought they were just too out there, too crazy to put in the Bible. But more and more, they use them because the books, they answer questions that the rest of the Bible doesn't really answer. It's very vague on. They actually give answers for it, and do you want to have an answer to a question, and even if it's silly, well, hey, I guess some people would rather have an answer. But the church thought these were too embarrassing to include in the canon. It's same thing with the New Testament, like the Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. There were probably a dozen or more other possible gospels out there similar that the church looked at and they thought, no, this is just too far out there. This is not part of the canon.
I always find that when you cannot, well, this type of mindset is that when you don't have a good theory, you often reach for a conspiracy theory, which I find that religion and that mindset kind of overlap. Not always, but just like our flat earth tends to be a creationist movement as well. But all right, let's get into it. Let's watch Before the Flood. What was the world like before the flood? The reason that I like that title, it's, ladies and gentlemen, it's about the little things. Is that it's basically being yelled at you, because that's how I view closed captioning. Just in case you didn't see it, it's definitely about a flood.
Were Justin Dowling and Joshua Herbel included on the Epstein list? I haven't checked yet.
I know the two famous ones that, let's just say it wasn't Jimmy Kimmel. It was Bill Clinton and Donald Trump. Those are the two big ones that I know. And yeah. That's not going to hurt him at all, though, because he just absorbs, all that stuff. But, politics. We'll leave that for another time. Before the flood, we are getting into it. We are watching a cinematic version of half of the Torah. Well, not half. The beginning of the Torah, really.
I know they said Stephen Hawking was in there, and that's just, But just because he's in there doesn't mean he was engaging with doesn't mean he was a participant.
Yes.
In the illegal conduct.
This is not a client list. This is a flight log. It would be like if your friend went with you somewhere, that doesn't technically mean that, and you're a drug dealer, it doesn't technically mean your friend is a drug dealer. So yes, it's not the client list. It is because we spread information here, which is why the TOS likes us. Thank you, TOS. Oh my goodness. But yes, let's watch some head exploding fun, because like we were saying before we started streaming, this stuff is just, I know they accept it and it's part of culture, but if you go into it, some of it's a little bit. Without further ado.
How was life before the flood? In the early chapters of the Bible, particularly in the book of Genesis, we come across a world very different from our own. A world before the Great Flood. This era, often wrapped in layers of interpretations, is a time of early humanity, marked by long lifespans.
They had a lot more sheep. That tends to be why the Bible talks a lot of rules about sheep and doesn't talk about, women having rights.
Plenty of goats to fuck.
But plenty of goats, yes.
Interactions and a closeness to God and the creation story itself. Characters like Adam, Eve, Cain,
right,
Abel, and eventually Noah give us glimpses into a life that seems to be relatable.
Americans love a sexy British accent, so we just look at that.
Numerous forces come together to make the flood happen. Satan and the fallen angels. The first ever that led to the flood occurred before the world's creation. This event was the creation of the sons of God. In the Bible story from the book of Job, God reveals an event that took place before the creation of the world. Job 38 verses 4 to 7. When were you when I laid the foundation of the earth? Tell me, if you know and have understanding.
Apparently not
who
alive.
determined the measurements of the earth, if you know? Or who stretched the measuring line on it? On what were its foundations fastened? Or who laid its cornerstone? When morning stars sang together, and all the sons of God, angels, shouted for joy.
By the way, sons of God, a common phrase of the Bible. It is why I believe that when Jesus said, I am a son of God, he was talking about it more in that context until the final gospel, when John finally changed it and said, no. I don't mean like son of God, like, like we're all sons of God. I mean like, I am God. Oh, okay.
It is revealed that angelic beings referred to as morning stars and sons of God witnessed the creation of the earth and celebrated the glory, power, and wisdom of God involved in the process.
I also love angels. Just pointing that out there. We all know. If you're a fan of this channel, I've been working. But there's that one picture. He had it for like a split second. I don't want to go back. But it's this crazy eye-looking picture. That's the new one I've been getting recently. Is like this giant eyeball with wings. And they're like, basically. I mean, it looks cool. It's different from my take, different from what I think. I mean, if that thing was having sex with humans, I don't know. I don't know where the hole or the phallic thing is in that thing. But, I guess whatever you're into.
The flood was a fallen being. The Bible only makes passing references to fallen angels because the vast majority of angels in heaven have never lost their way or
Oh, that's because in the Torah, there was no Satan. There were demons. Demons just did nasty things. But there was no, like, there were, how should I put this? A demon, but not the demon. You know what I mean?
You'll get really start to see that a few books out of the Torah.
Yes.
By Job, he's there, but
Job is such a weird story. The Christian came to me with Job the other day. I don't get why God would let, the demon test someone like that. Doesn't he already know? He's God.
Well, at the time, he wasn't omnipotent early in the Old Testament. He didn't get that till like halfway through the Old Testament. So no, there were legitimate things that he didn't know. Things he had to trial and error. He had to wait and see.
We're still at the war god phase. It happens.
Turned to evil. But there were some who made that decision. Keep in mind that heaven was originally intended to be their home for all eternity, but they've now fallen from it. What caused all of this to occur? Nevertheless,
there's always some random thing. It's an apple or something.
We cannot deny the fact that angels possess free will. Their fallenness can be seen in terms of their free will.
They can?
The book of Jude makes this point quite clear. Jude 5-6, Amplified Bible.
Hey, Jude.
Now I want to remind you, although you are fully...
So I like how some things have free will and some things don't. You know who doesn't have free will? The people about to drown. But hey, I guess angels do.
Formed once and for all that the Lord, after saving a people out of the land of Egypt, subsequently destroyed those who did not believe, who refused to trust and obey and rely on him. And angels who did not keep their own designated place of power, but abandoned their proper dwelling place. These he kept in eternal chains under the thick gloom of utter darkness for judgment of the great day. Jude asserted that the angels did not keep their proper domain. The phrase proper domain can be interpreted.
I guess this is just his original angels that God had. This is before, there was a Satan.
The Mark 1 prototype.
Yes. But then the Christians retcon it. They just go, you know what? The snake was Satan. Fuck it. Which really isn't how do you get punishment for snakes then? Because that really sucks as a snake, if you think about it. Because that would mean, first of all, you're in the garden, let's just say another snake, okay? And you're sitting there, you're walking around with legs. If you didn't know, the reason they lost their legs is because, the whole apple incident. And so I'm just another snake with legs walking around. And then Satan over here is like tempting some bee. Okay? And of course, the bee gives in, it's a snake with legs over here. Who's not going to trust a snake with legs?
And he's talking of all things. The talking snake.
It's a talking snake with legs. Who wouldn't trust it? And so, she then gets her, her whipped husband to eat it. And then all of the other snakes lose their legs. That doesn't seem really fair for the snakes.
Because remember, these people, they were intentionally created ignorant, so they wouldn't know much of anything. Okay, they were completely ignorant. They didn't know their ass from a hole in the ground because they didn't need to. God didn't make them to know shit. God made them just to worship him. So they don't have to know things. Just worship me.
Yeah, they were basically children. We always view them as adults, and sometimes I get the apologetic that they were like poof adults, but
they didn't have to grow up. They didn't have to be children and be bottle fed, poop in a diaper.
Yeah, I don't know. But this guy looks pretty cool, though. Looks like a ninja.
Interpreted either as rule or starting point. Angels were made specifically for the purpose of dwelling in heaven with God, worshipping him, and carrying out his commands. They were formed to bring glory to him, just like people were. But humans were designed to dwell on earth, while angels were created to live in heaven. Despite this, these angels left their beginning, which is another way of saying that they left their starting location in heaven. Satan, who disguises himself as an angel of light, is in charge of these angels and acts as their leader. The Great Rebellion, as some refer to it, was an event in which Satan and a portion of heaven's angelic
Pretty
legions
sure he
were
actually was the Angel of Light under
I believe
the
so.
original lore.
waged war against God and his angels in an effort to topple God's authority in the everlasting sphere.
Respect my authority.
To overthrow God, his creator, and he and the angels that followed him ended up being defeated in the conflict. We get an account of this from Jesus himself.
What,
As he
Amy? You mean they
Jesus talks about
they
the
couldn't
glory
defeat an
and
omnipotent
creation of
God?
the Father before the world
I know.
existed.
I
John
always find
17
that
verse
funny.
They lost? They lost?
Nah.
Wow.
Can I also point out, God also gets his messed up a lot. Just pointing that out, that we ultimately screw his plan up over and over and over and over.
5. Amplified Bible. Now, Father, glorify me together with yourself, with the glory and
Dragonborn.
majesty that I had with you before the world existed. Before the creation of the earth was God, and God had majesty with his Son. Jesus declares, I saw Satan fall like
He had
lightning from
majesty
heaven.
with his son? I mean, I hope that's not a double entendre. Okay.
As can be seen, Satan is much more than a red figure with horns and a pitchfork. He is an ancient being with real spiritual power, which he used.
I just love humans, because this is what we think of. This is just this is a cloaked version of us with wings. I get it.
Uses for evil and selfish ends.
But it's holy.
We wrestle not,
Look at that
period,
little
Paul
glow
said.
there.
We are in a wrestling match, but it's not against flesh and blood. Satan's kingdom is highly organized
Oh
with
my.
different areas and levels of authority, and its headquarters are in heavenly regions. That is a staggering fact, but it is quite.
I also want to point out, this is why I view religion as like fan fiction, because a lot of them can get really geeky into it. You can get geeky into your religion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Clear. The fact that Satan heads a highly organized kingdom astonishes some people. Yet there are many clear indications of this in the Bible. A spiritual war started. It is a clash between two kingdoms. One kingdom is ruled by God, the Prince of Peace,
other
while the other
is ruled by McDonald's, and they fight continuously.
And their new cosmic restaurant.
That's true.
They don't have any here yet.
They don't have any what?
Cosmics in my area.
Oh, listen, I just saw that. I thought at first I wasn't sold on it. Then I understood what they were doing, because there's no way that McDonald's is going to lose money. Like and so they must have done crunched a bunch of data and were like, there must be a market in here somewhere. So for those of you who don't know, and I can't help it, I'm a news junkie, and you can tell by the type of news that I look at.
A news junkie and a fast food junkie.
Is that McDonald's is releasing a new restaurant. They're calling it Cosmic, and I use restaurant loosely because it's fast food. But they are releasing something called Cosmics, and you ask yourself, why would you make a new store? And it's because they are trying to go head to head with Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks. So they think that there is a space in the drink market, the non-alcoholic drink market, that they are going to try and make caffeinated and non-caffeinated beverages along with breakfast 24/7.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, because why they're trying to do that, you get one of these Starbucks coffees that costs $8 or $9. I mean, that is just pure profit.
Yep.
I mean, the base of it, 95% of it is just coffee, which is cheap. They put some extra flavor shots or whatever, the thing of espresso in it, but they're still making a ton of money.
And they already have the infrastructure. They'll do all their frappuccinos, and then it'll allow them to do new shit, and they'll get more money from it because they'll just have it there. Did I see an avatar like James Cameron? I don't know if you know this, but I am a rare person, because I think he gets shit a lot of times. I'm a James Cameron fangirl. James knows this. I can't help it. I also just want to point out, James Cameron does not do what James Cameron does for James Cameron. James Cameron does what James Cameron does because James Cameron is James Cameron. I know, baby girl. I gotta feed her. Well, hold on 1 second. We're gonna jump backing in to before the flood, and they use all this, the cool pictures. But if you just read the Bible, it's not as exciting. It's more exposition and then murder. The murder's really exciting while you're screaming, but yeah.
After being expelled from heaven, Satan and his followers pledged themselves to each other and formed the Rebel Kingdom. In the Garden of Eden,
Rebel
Satan
Alliance.
assault on God's authority on earth. Satan considered the earth his domain and saw Adam and Eve as God's invaders in his territory. If God created mankind to live on earth in order to establish his kingdom, Satan needed a plan of attack. When God first made the world, there was a place called Eden. In the Hebrew language, the word Eden means joy.
Can I just point out that it does sound like a Star Wars? Yahweh consistently sounds like the bad guy.
Fiction, yeah.
They had free will. They wanted to use their free will, and God was like,
I mean, he's gonna say, he says, okay, there was a place called Eden, right? And what happened when, where is Eden today? I think all Christian, they would all say, oh, it's not on earth anymore. Well, where'd it go? At some point, God just took it away from the earth. It's not here anymore. Okay, well, remember when he kicked Adam and Eve out, and then he put the angel there with a sword of fire to keep them from going back in. But if his plan all along was just to remove it from the earth, why didn't he just remove it from the earth? Why the theatrics of an angel with a lightsaber, basically, at the gate to the garden?
I do not understand how anything can rebel under God's framework. It makes no sense to me. And they always try. It's always free will, but free will gets obliterated over and over and over.
Like,
yeah.
Because God, why they choose to rebel?
Oh, sorry.
But God knows. He knows beforehand that they're going to rebel. So if he knows that, and he doesn't do anything about it, then what is he actually doing? He's basically given people enough rope to hang themselves with, so he can punish and send them to hell, right? Like this fucker Satan, if I don't do anything, he's going to rebel against me. That's going to take billions of people to hell, or I'm going to have to torture him forever. But I don't care. I already. This is the plan I want to do. I'm going to do it. I'm not going to change my plan just because a few billion people go to hell. I mean, no.
James,
no. This is how I want to do it. I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to do it this way. And if everybody has to go to hell, fine. They can all go to hell. I'm not changing a damn thing.
Sending love also to Steve. We do have a lot on YouTube. Come on over. I am excited, though, just to see that we have people on X. I always love that my favorite thing, I tell James this, is they still have to say formerly Twitter, because all of the news organizations still want it to be Twitter. But sending love on there, sending love on Facebook. If you are in a 3D space, maybe you're watching us in Meta. Hi, if you're Mark Zuckerberg, maybe you're watching me from the mothership. You never know. Oh, I kid. We have a galactic alliance with him.
It was a place of provision where a man could meet God, according to Genesis 3, verse 8. Now, in the perfect garden, there was a special tree called the tree of knowledge of good and evil. God told Adam and Eve they could eat from any tree in the garden except for this one.
I love that too.
So why is it there, then?
You know that's the tree they're gonna eat. You can eat from anything except this one amazing tree that I'm gonna leave right in front of you.
So why is it there then? Well, I mean, God's only got rules so they can be broken, right? That's the whole point of having a rule is
free will.
You're going to break it.
Just shout free will into an empty void. Richard, I almost agree with you, though. So that's true. Bible sounds like Star Wars. Every thought, everything brings you closer to my side. However, I still stand by, I think Yahweh is much more a Sith Lord than a Jedi. I could be wrong. It's just the vibe that I'm getting. He was a war god, though, and I don't mean that as an insult. The Jews had like 3
Lots of
different
cultures
gods.
had war gods. They all did.
Yes, and listen, I don't make excuses for what people did in the past, nor do I try to judge people in the past. In those types of contexts, I don't mean extreme surgery. If you're Godwin's law and stuff like that, you probably should have done better. But I don't look back at old religions and say, "Oh my goodness." They always look back at the
stupid simpletons. Look at these idiots.
They look at the Aztecs. It always pisses me off how much they look down on the Aztecs, because they're always like, and they throw in cannibalism, but they're always like, and they were doing
human sacrifices.
Yeah. Yes, and you're like, is that a bad thing?
Well,
if one's bad, how much can I get for 5?
But we stopped that like 1,000 years ago, so we stopped it. So now we don't do that anymore. So they're the primitive simpleton savages. We should probably kill them all.
Which is what they often did, and then brought religion to them. Sinister purposes. Gods will make as much sense as JavaScript and Java having a similar name but being different languages. Yes, that does make about enough. Funny story. And so Rachel's actually learning Java. They are very different. I wouldn't say for no reason. I actually know so Java came out first, and Java was a hit. It was an amazing object-oriented programming language.
That was like what, the mid-90s?
Yes.
Early to mid-90s, yeah.
And what happened is, with the rise of the internet and the World Wide Web, there was a organization that wanted to bandwagon off of how popular Java was. And so I don't know how copyright, I mean, he had a script. I mean, I guess it's technically a different name, but the people working on the web, the data sending back and forth, decided to make a language and call it JavaScript and just be like, hey, I hope everyone just doesn't notice. And so, yes, JavaScript was born. I know JavaScript. JavaScript is fantastic. And I said how you send data back and forth. That's PHP. JavaScript is what makes a web page dynamic. It is what makes a web page fancy. It's what makes pop-ups, unfortunately. So,
like to kick that person's ass who invented that shit, huh?
Yes, you can't. I wonder if you could do that with HTML. It would be a pain in the ass. But you do that generally with JavaScript, not HTML or CS. Not how you make a normal web page. You got to use something fancy. And Java is a programming that you install that mother. So yes, it was Mozilla. That was the company. Thank you, trying to capitalize on the popularity. Yes, and they're just like, yeah, you know what? We're just gonna jump on the bandwagon. Speaking of jumping on the bandwagon, because they're both popular in good languages. Before the flood, we're going through not an animated, a cinematic version.
Don't eat from this tree.
Don't eat from the tree. So of course, what's gonna happen? What's up, Davegar? That was Richard saying, I'm trying to work on my Spanish too. What's up, Davegar? Sending so much love. What's up, Awoken One? How are you? What is up, everybody? And let's get back into it.
Satan must destroy man's destiny. But how? The devil, the old serpent, made his way to Eve.
But why? But okay.
And used 3 strategic tactics against her. The first one was doubt. Has God indeed said? Genesis 3, verse 1. You can almost hear the father of lies as he interacts with Eve.
Oh, I love this father of lies because, once again, spoiler alert, Satan's going to tell the truth.
And
he's the only one in the story who tells the truth.
Only one.
Eve doubt whether the consequences of her disobedience would truly result in her death, as God had stated.
Yeah, you know what would be a good way for her not to doubt that? If she, had knowledge of good and evil. Also, I love that that's what fucking tree is called, as if this isn't a fable. They get insulted when we say because James fairy tale, that's the politically correct. It's a fable. It's a myth. Okay, to be nice, but that is what it is. That's as nice as I can be.
It's like what are the trees in Oz grow, like lunch pails? It's like growing on a tree, like a lunchbox full of food.
Yeah.
You will not surely die. Genesis 3 verse 4. The third and final approach he used against Eve was temptation. God was disappointed because of their disobedience. They could no longer stay in the Garden of Eden. Adam and Eve had all...
I also love that. One mistake, and they gone. And the apologetic
he knew they were going to make. He knew it.
Make. And the apologetic I always get is, well, did they make that mistake? Yeah. Did your child touch the stove once and then you kick them out of the house? What? Okay.
Already made a mistake by eating the forbidden fruit.
He does.
Satan's
What's up,
subversive
Turing
counterattack completely overwhelmed the humans. But God established a beachhead in the Garden of Eden, promising that the serpent's head would be bruised by the seed of the woman. By reversing the tables on the tempter before driving Adam and Eve out of the garden, he demonstrated his complete mastery of Satan. The first
complete mastery.
Cain and Abel.
I mean, he's fucking omnipotent. What do you want? He can do whatever. I mean, this guy is like the only god who gets glory from defeating enemies infinitely weaker than him.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, oh, my God, kicked his... Yeah, no shit, you're God. You can kick
Also,
anybody's ass.
Can I just say, this is a point I've never really thought about, but God kicked us out of Eden. Can we just all agree that we kind of did okay? Like, we pulled our shit together and have been actually living for, I don't know, ever since? Tell you what, Daddy, didn't need you.
Cain, somebody pointed out that the sin committed by the first man caused the second man to kill the third. Despite the fact that Adam and Eve were banished from the garden, God continued to bless them. Eve gave birth to two sons, Cain and Abel, with the help of the Lord. Because both sons had grown up hearing stories...
With the help of the Lord?
Yeah.
Help of the Lord. Be funny if God...
Was God the one doing it, or was it Adam?
They should make offerings to their creator. Both boys arrived ready to worship over time. But while the Lord was concerned about Abel and his offering,
so
he was
Cain,
not...
Abel, another evil story where
ridiculous.
The moral is blind obedience. It could just say obedience if you want me to cut it down.
Concerned about Cain and his offering. This infuriated Cain. Despite God's warning that he should master sin, Cain deceives his brother, murders him, buries him, and completely disowns him. Am I my brother's keeper? He asks. Fearing that others might kill him for his crime, God placed a mark on Cain to protect him.
Wait. Which others? Which others is he talking about? Who else? Because remember, this is still the first family in the world, so who's he worried about getting killed by? Huh. Wouldn't everybody on the planet know him?
You would think.
But
that's true. It's a very small world.
This story is so silly because it's not like God said, bring me an animal sacrifice. He didn't say that. So Abel was the shepherd. He would tend to the sheep, and Cain was the farmer. Okay, so they each brought to God what they had available to them. Abel brought the sheep that he tended to, and Cain brought some of the crops, the produce that he was working on. And God just arbitrarily said, yeah, I really like Abel's meat offering, this lamb that he's going to kill for me. But get out of here with this fucking fruit. What the fuck is this? Get this shit out of here. A fucking goddamn cucumber? Are you fucking shitting me right now?
Vegan?
Cain? What the fuck? Yeah. So no, it's not that Cain was disobedient. God didn't tell them what to bring as an offering. They both brought an offering, and God just liked one of them, and he was pissed off at the other one for no real reason.
Also, this is when the other animals also were all vegans and vegetarians. They were all, they all did not eat meat. That happens later in the flood. Because it's science.
Kills Cain will suffer vengeance 7 times over. Genesis 4, verse 15. Cain was punished by becoming a restless wanderer, away from his home and family. After God punished Cain, he went to live in a place called the land of Nod, which is east of Eden. In this land, Nod, he built a city and named it after his son, Enoch. His descendants included influential people of their time. Jabal, the father of those who live in tents and raise livestock. Jubal,
get ready for
the
the
father of
dating.
all who play stringed instruments and pipes. And Tubal-Cain, who forged tools out of bronze and iron. Genesis 4, verses 17 to 22.
These are, we used to get shit. These aren't Bronze Age peasants. These are not Bronze Age goat herders, James. What are they?
Nomads?
Iron Age. Very close.
Oh, Iron Age. Okay.
That's right.
What follows Cain's punishment is the story of 2 families, a recurring theme in Genesis. Unfortunately, Cain's murderous ways were passed down through his family line. We find a man bragging about his own violence by the time we get to his great-great-great-grandson.
Terrible to have
Evil was
somebody
spreading.
just killed
God's perfect
everyone.
design is only 4 chapters old, and already we find people reveling in bloodshed and flouting his design for marriage. Before the flood, polygamy was also passed down through Cain's loins.
Flaunting his okay.
Until that time, a man and a woman were married for life, but Cain's descendants had many wives.
Where does it say this in the Bible? Nowhere.
I'm sorry, polygamy is accepted for
this is just
most
pure
of...
extra biblical stuff. There's, I don't think there's anything.
This
else
is
in the
this
Bible.
guy's opinion. This guy's going off script.
Yeah.
Putting that out there. Because let me tell you, who love them some polygamy? It's the Torah.
God established a new family tree. God gave Eve a son named Seth in place of Abel. Seth exemplified the same type of worship as his deceased
And
brother.
then, just like that, he gave birth to the first talk show. What?
That's Steve Wilkos.
Abel, because people began to invoke the Lord's name in connection with Seth. Cain's way of worship, which is prideful, points to itself. The humble way of worship, as practiced by Abel and Seth, calls out to God. Jude 11. Woe to them! They have taken the way of Cain. They have rushed for profit into Balaam's
I like the sparkle there going on.
error. They have been destroyed.
Balaam. Let me tell you, I still get people that tell me that atheists worship Balaam.
In Korah's rebellion. It's no surprise then
Balaam?
that when
Or
God
you
needed an
mean
obedient
Baphomet?
servant hundreds of years later,
Oh,
he chose Noah
it-
from Seth's line.
I have heard Balaam. I have heard Malik. They come up with these
The
wonderful.
owl god.
I guess I will say that I say we come up. I mean that's what they all are. So, I saw someone out there talking about the Quran. Yeah, that is true. The Quran is just as silly. We take pot shots at all the religions here. We are equal opportunity. My go-to with the Quran lately has been the ant, because it's an entire surah, which it's a chapter. I say chapter, and they're like, it's not a chapter, it's a surah. So now I say it's a chapter. But look up the ant, because it's funny. It's Solomon talking to ants. And the apologetic that I always get without fail, as I choke for breath, is that, well, ants can talk to each other, can't they? Yes, ants can talk to each other. They can't talk to us like a Pixar movie.
They can't talk like the way humans talk. But they can't. They don't have complex languages. They do have certain chemical signals, but
They talk through pheromones,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Cain's legacy was a complicated one. On one hand, he and his family were really good at coming up with new ideas and ways of doing things. On the
Super
other
good.
hand, they also had a lot of trouble with fighting and hurting others, and it seems to get worse over time. This became a symbol of what it's like to be human, a struggle between our potential for great good and our capacity for great evil.
He really is starting to get into his own whatever he just feels like. Because he was sticking to the script. Now he's going off.
The generations after Adam. The world became populated, but it also became filled with sin. People were not kind to each other. They lied, stole, and even killed. Within this period, men lived extraordinarily long lives, their years numbering into the hundreds. It was a different era.
This is my favorite part. One of my favorite parts. If you guys and girls don't know, There are many people in the Bible who are hundreds of years old. And I don't mean 100. I mean like 600 years old.
Era, a time when humanity was still closely connected to its origins, and the world itself was younger and fresh. Adam and Eve had other sons and daughters after Cain and Abel. With the growth of their family came the birth of civilization itself. The Bible says, after he became the father of Seth, Adam lived 800 years and had other sons and daughters. Genesis 5 verse 4. As Adam and Eve's children grew, they took wives and had families of their own. The population began to grow steadily.
They fucked sisters. They fucked brothers and sisters.
Descendants, including Enoch.
Also, I will say this is it is just funny that it is interesting that it is like, yeah, I don't know where he gets all this stock footage from. It is funny that a lot of it is this like Christian stock footage. But I swear, some of it is just, I think, stolen from video games and like artists that think they're making cool art. This guy just takes it and he's like,
soon a lot of it will be AI. Like you can have AI draw pretty much anything.
AI is getting they're getting extremely interesting in the creative ways that we are being able to utilize them. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And eventually Noah. Adam, the first man, lived to be 930 years old.
Okay, let me just play that one more time. I don't often do this, but come on. Just come on. There are people. There is like, think about how many people believe this book literally. Literally.
Noah. Adam, the first man, lived to be 930 years old. Genesis.
I don't understand. These are the same people. James, it took me 1 hour and 7 minutes to mention the LGBTQ agenda. But these are the same people who look me in the face and say that I don't understand biology. Are you kidding me?
Well, you see, Amy, back then they didn't have all the genetic entropy that we have today, so that they could live to be that long because their genome hadn't degraded as much as it has for us today. They had a perfect genetic code. Ours has been degrading for almost 6,000 years. What do you expect?
Yeah, 6,000. I expect one of these people to take a biology class. Though Ken has been, a lot of these creationists have been shown by the best biologists in the world. And so it may be more of a them thing.
Yeah, Ken Hovind fucks biology textbooks. That's what he does. He fucking drills a hole in them and he fucks them.
Oh my, with a 15-foot whale. Anyway, What is up, Aussie Gold? What is up, Sage Ohio? What's up, Binge Thinker? How do we escape the dark ages with people like this in power? Let me tell you, that is a fascinating just way to think about it because, when we left the Dark Ages and we actually got the Renaissance, which gave us enlightenment, and then eventually our modern era, I still think it's sad, but it's going to be 100 or so years until we shake off this religion thing if we really want to go into space and all this stuff and do, it's a common joke, it's a common trope, and yet I really do think there's some truth in it. Just the ways that, in an ironic sense, the people who say, I'm not an animal, that statement, because we know so much and we know we're factually animals and it's their religion holding them back, it's a visual point for me to say, oh, that's right. We're very much animals, and we're still kind of stuck in this whole. I know they look at it. They're like, other animals don't have religion. I'm like, yeah. We're still working on getting, but that's okay. Before the flood, we're getting back into it. We're about halfway through now, and. My goodness, there's so much nonsense and murder already.
5 verse 5. Yes, you heard that right. 9 centuries.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You heard that right. An adult said to you, recorded, uploaded it proudly, that there was a man that lived 900 years old and told the rest of the world that.
Had children who also lived extraordinarily long lives. His son Seth lived for 912 years. Genesis 5, verse 8.
I mean, if we're gonna just start throwing numbers out, let's just make everybody
Hey,
old.
why not? Yeah, just make
Why
up
not?
numbers. We're making up
Seth's
numbers
son
here.
Enoch lived for 905 years. Genesis 5, verse 11. As the generations passed, each man fathered children and taught them the ways of the earth, how to cultivate land and care for animals, and also how to connect with God. This line of people was special. They
I
carried
also, just to point out, I will continually point out that if you have a God who comes up to you and says that they want you to be their chosen people, run as fast as you can.
the seed of humanity's first union with fallen angels. But despite their long lives and deep wisdom, these early people were not immune to the problems that often plague mankind. Issues like jealousy, anger, and sometimes even
Or-
violence. However, there was a
If your God says, I'm going to rescue you from slavery, to have you guys starve in the desert, you might think about, slavery sucks, but is this guy offering any better?
I also like that they use jealousy as something bad, and yet this war god will continually say that his name is jealous, and to call him that. I feel like a lot of humans.
No, you will call me
it.
jealous. Call me jealous, damn it. Call me jealous. Say it. Call me jealous.
That might be true, Udif. Yes, I always say the only way that you can get any valuable information and wisdom out of these holy texts is to take them metaphorically. Because I don't think the three little pigs happened. I don't think that, a lot of these mythological stories,
I mean,
and thus we play them
Little
because
Red Riding
it's a
Hood
metaphor.
was true, but there are wolves, so I mean.
I was going to say there are wolves, and there probably has been someone eaten in a red outfit. Whew. I'm almost over it. Another day or two, we'll be done with this cold.
a man that was called Enoch. Genesis chapter 5 gives us the first expression of Enoch. There is a first Enoch that was the son of Cain. This is a different Enoch. Genesis 5 verse 21.
I like how it shows the same stock footage, but it's like, this is a different one.
When Enoch
they only have so much.
years,
Sooner or
he
later,
became
they
the
have to
father of Methuselah.
recycle it.
And from our Bible knowledge, we know that his son, Methuselah, was the oldest living man as recorded in Scripture. When we study through the genealogies written in the Bible,
969.
do we? Ridiculous. What's up, BTF Wayne? What's up to... Oh, my. Okay, sending so much love to... Who was the one I saw someone shout it out? Thank you so much, Khaleesi. Sending so much love to Ember. And then everyone coming from Ember.
What did he send people over? Yeah, thanks, Ember.
Yeah, what I need to do now, Mark showed me how to do it live last time, and I should figure that out. Maybe I'll try and figure that out before I leave, is send somewhere else or set it up. Woo, sending love to all of the atheists out there. That's right. Now it's my turn. What's up, Ember? I got to remember how to do. I think it's in the My Channel settings of the video. And then it's like near, it's on one of the panels. I think I remember. Oh, sending so much love, Richard. Yeah, I do have a little bit of a cold, but I think I'm almost over it, which is good because it's Friday soon. D. James, this is a prophet beard. If we're using my beard scale. I'm not saying that's not
pretty
cute.
epic, huh? Pretty epic, huh?
You can have that is pretty epic. I like this guy. He's got soft blue eyes.
Find out that Enoch was the great-grandfather of Noah. This is found in Genesis chapter 5, 22, and then 24. The Bible says, and Enoch walked.
I thought we were talking about the Middle East. That is my other funny thing. I still get in fight with Christians who, or just that, like that one lady who I think was having a dream within herself, but it's always, white Jesus somehow, but I'm pretty sure he came from, near Palestine. He probably had a tan. Yeah, and I'll say for James if he was.
With God. In an era when most of his peers only had the record of their birth and the children they also gave birth to, Enoch is like a breath of fresh air. In the history books, Enoch was introduced like others, but despite the fact that he didn't live as long as some of the other men, his testimony is eye-catching. The Bible says that he walked with God, and that when it was time to leave the earth, God took him without the passage of death like we know it.
What does walk with God even mean? Does that mean God is walking right beside you? Is God stalking you? Isn't God everywhere anyway?
Yeah, but I mean, is he really there everywhere? I mean, he is there, but is he there? But he was there with Enoch. Like, he was right there.
Can you define there? I'll be there in his...
is short, but heavy and weighty. This means something about his pure walk with God translated him. His life has provided a template for so many people throughout different generations, as it teaches us to live for the audience.
Yes, you're right. All right, nearby village. Guess what? I got a gift for you. Spoiler alert. You're going to be, reading this Bible.
Audience of one. He silently teaches us to passionately seek a close-knit communion and fellowship with God, knowing that as we do this, we will experience God in a new dimension.
Oh my, and if you're at least one of the people we've talked with, you're experiencing God on an entirely new level. My goodness, we've had both someone tell us they've had sex with God, someone tell us they've had sex with a demon. And all I want to do is get these two people together so that we can have an orgy. It's the simple things in life, James.
Yeah, dream big.
5 verse 24, New American Standard Bible. Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. Enoch's case was the first rapture recorded as God just took him. Perhaps the fellowship
just took him.
Like
where'd he go?
The jungle came alive and it took him.
Exactly.
Was so intense that the presence of God just enveloped and whisked him away. The book of Hebrews talks about the men of whom this world was not worthy. Despite the beauty of Enoch.
I like this sparkle. I guess I can't tell if it's sparkle or old-timey. Sparkle old-timey.
Life. His era was not entirely rosy. People lived long, but not always well. They had many years to perfect their skills.
I guess if you lived 900 years in like the Bronze Age, you wouldn't be having a good time either. My goodness. Imagine just having the plague and just sitting there. Oh, God. That's okay. I only got 800 more years.
Build things and explore the earth. But they also had more time to make mistakes, to stray from God's path, to let their hearts harden. This eventually led to a world
let their
so
hearts
corrupt,
harden. Also by God, because God did that 5 times to Pharaoh. Another thing that upsets me greatly is reading the Moses story
from Yahweh.
Far from its divine origins. Populated growth,
is it the Hamilton
spread,
text?
expansion of tribes and families. Over time,
it's like watching Hamilton first. Oh, goodness. Religious people are the only people that defend slavery, also. Just talking about rights. The only group. I can't think of anyone else. And Nikki Haley. Oh, just kidding. Not to get political again. I actually like moderates. Moderates are actually pretty good. I just don't get religious people. I know very good people that defend very stupid and horrible things because of religion. It's not because they're horrible or stupid. It's because they are being blocked mentally from a text that says horrible things that they do not know how to reconciliate.
Tribes and clans formed, each descended from one of the original patriarchs. They spread across the land, finding new territories to call home. As the population grew, so did the need for different roles and professions. People couldn't only be herders and farmers anymore.
Yeah, you need prostitutes, and, you need more professions.
But it's like after 900 years, yeah, I'd have a hobby too.
Cain, for instance, was a worker of the ground, Genesis 4, verse 2, while his brother Abel was a keeper of sheep. This
Right, so they each brought from a sacrifice what they had available to them.
Tubal.
And also, just let me tell you, what's up, Dapper's Investigation Station, all points west, the Pharaoh's Heart. And I love the Pharaohs are unnamed pharaohs. That's something that James used to point out to me, and now that kind of sticks in my head. It's just Pharaoh 1, Pharaoh 2. And the Pharaoh just gets his heart hardened over and over and over, and he lets the Jews go. Okay, now look, it wasn't for number one, there were never massive Jews. But let's just throw that massive Jews in ancient Egypt as slaves. Let me finish that sentence. There were never massive Jews. There's a lot of Jews, but there were never that amount of institutional Jewish slavery in Egypt. However, let's just throw that aside and pretend that there was. Okay, within the story, it is up that the Pharaoh owns Jewish slaves. However, after getting beat over and over and over by God, he relents over and over and over.
And then, of course, you can't forget that they only became slaves because God had this elaborate plan to get them into Egypt so they could be enslaved, so he could then rescue them and demand to be thanked for all eternity for rescuing them from the problem he got them in the first place. So God, he causes the problem to start with. He causes the problem. Then he helps you out of it and then demands to be thanked for it.
It is like going around and stabbing heroin needles into random strangers and homeless people, and then opening up an addiction clinic nearby. Anyway, more fun. We're talking about before the flood, because the flood is a big thing for them. And so
Cain, a descendant of Cain, became an instructor of every craftsman in bronze and iron. Genesis 4, verse 22. This indicates the emergence of more specialized professions like metalworking. Musicians also made their appearance. Jubal, another descendant of Cain, was the father of all who play the harp and flute. Genesis 4, verse 21. These roles allowed society to become more complex and organized, setting the stage for more.
Also, wait a second. Like, I also want to just point out that at this point in time, we have diversified long ago. But whatever. I get that this is... It reminds me of when Christians try to say that they invented the ways of... We have political institutions. And yet, Rome... They had a Senate, a functional Senate. The first filibuster took place before Jesus was born. At least the first recorded filibuster, because I was looking up the filibuster last night. And, so we've had complex senates and governments and just institutions way before a lot of these religious people's claims that they gave it to us. Oh, and then Richard Madison, there is more than one way to read harden his heart. Oh my. Trans folk harden the hearts of some, even if they know no trans person. Harden the hearts of some, even if they know no trans person. I don't know if I fully understand.
I'm not sure what he's trying to say, actually, either. But yeah, Dapper said we have a very dysfunctional Senate, and it works for the interests of the wealthiest people in the country. That's primarily who they serve.
This is one of the least I hate to go when I go politics. The reason I say I don't like to is because I like that a lot of our material doesn't have. You could watch it now or in 10 years, and a lot of it, because we're dealing with theology and these arguments, it'll still be relevant. And so, what was the exact? What were you now? I forget the point I was saying because I was trying to say why I didn't want to go into politics.
The dysfunctional Senate that.
We have one of the least functional Congresses in modern history. They passed the least amount of bills, and so not very happy with that. And so we actually have a fairly good economy right now, even though the inflation's been going woo-ba-doo-ba-doo. So
we have an economy that looks pretty good.
I'm very biased towards who I want in because I want calmness for 4 more years.
I don't think it's going to happen.
You don't think it's going to happen as in
calmness?
Calmness? Well, you think he's going to win the orange one?
I don't know. I don't think he's going to win, but I do think the economy is going to fall apart.
Oh, okay. Well, let me tell you. I just want, what I mean by calmness is politics going back to normal. I don't like that guy. He's not even in the debates. And I know, like, the defense I get is they're like, why would he go to the debates? He would only lose points. It's like to defend his viewpoints, to talk with the delegation, if you cared, was speaking with an audience instead of just making. And I agree. We are in wars, very specifically because, I would say an asshole invaded, and then, a fundamentalist group did not want peace because we were very close to having actually peace. Saudi Arabia and Israel were about to sign a peace deal. I think that relations with Palestine and Israel would eventually continue to calm. And now we're at an all-time, we are where we are right now because they're at war. But what I mean by calm is I mean our actual, if you were to just look at the circus that happened within those 4 years, in my opinion, it made the media worse. It made us worse. It made us more like a TMZ type of country, and I'm also afraid that he'll just take it in an autocratic way. I think he's too stupid, but that's a extremely hard failsafe, is to just assume the inflation is because of. Oh no, the inflation is because we have. I'll continue to say we have high employment and low unemployment, and with that, oftentimes, if you're hiring and you're asking for higher wages, that oftentimes comes with inflation. Hopefully, that will come back. What hasn't been hit by inflation too much is oil. Oil has not been hit with. Our oil prices are low. However, the Houthi, can't even say it probably correctly, pirates attacking within the Mediterranean region may have some kind of effect because, we get 10% of the global trade goes through there. I'm going to cough again. So we'll see if that has any effect. But okay, I love all of you in politics, and I was almost tempted. What is this today? Friday. I'm actually tempted to do a podcast Saturday.
On what? A politics podcast?
A politics podcast. I was going to talk to you about this, but Saturday is January 6th.
Okay.
And I was possibly going to do a stream called Don't Vote for... I'm going a little crazy.
You are.
Oh, my goodness. By the way, please don't let me think that I disenfranchise you if you disagree with my politics. I'll continue to say that as the liberal label that I wear with the freedom, I think that I'm here to embrace, views, and if I have something wrong, I want to figure out why. And so, politics are opinions in my opinion, and educated opinions on what we're trying to find. Sending so much love. So, and okay, I see some people still talking. If you want me to specifically talk about your point, just tag me or James W as well, and we'll show it up there. But let's finish off before the flood. And I still continue to like that he said it again, but in caps lock. What the world was like before the flood. 900 years old, apparently. People could live hundreds of years old before modern medicine.
How many blowjobs could you give in 100 years?
Oh my God, my favorite Norm Macdonald joke, and I'm gonna butcher it so badly. But a guy comes up to his friend and he says, "Billy, I got a fantastic new job. They paid me $100,000. See, I already $100,000.05." And he says, "Oh my God, that's amazing." And he comes back the next day and he says, "Oh my God, you wouldn't believe it. They paid me $200,000.55. He says, "Wow, this is the best job you have ever had." Of course, he comes back the next day and he says, "This is it. I've made $300,000.55. And he says, "You have to tell me, what is it that you're doing?" And he says, "Well, I hate to be so lewd, but I have been going down on each and every one of them." And he says, "You've been charging money this entire..." I see. I can't land it the way he. The joke is supposed to be, I'm so close, and I don't know how to like word it.
You're so close, so close.
I'm so close.
Making a real joke.
It's my favorite Norm Macdonald joke. It's the whole joke is that he's sucking dick, but it's not about that. He asks, okay, but he asks. He says, "That's fine. You know what? You've been doing all that, but I just have to know. You've been charging. Oh, it's 5 cents. That's right. It's fucking 5 cents. You've been charging all this money. Who's been paying you the 5 cents?" And he looks into his face and he says, "Every one of them." See, I can't do it. I can't. I gotta listen to it a few more times. I'm gonna get it down, James, and then I'm gonna say it back.
No doubt.
On another stream. Anyway, enough about seeing how much D's that I can suck. Let's talk about Before the Flood. Also, sending love. Go check out the Norm would not be happy with our content. He was a Christian. He, I think, kind of berated an atheist after they did religious comedy on his, like, he was a judge once. Nonetheless, he was one of the greats. And so, I'm sorry for butchering your joke. I'll get it right next time.
Advanced forms of civilization. Even though people learned new skills and jobs, life before the big flood wasn't perfect or happy. The Bible tells us that.
Also, can I also point out, it goes 900 years old, and then we know historically the life expectancy went to 35. And then somehow it's like back up. Now we're at the 80 to 100 mark. That's very weird. Just pointing out. A little bit uneven, but okay.
The Lord saw how great the wickedness of the human race had become on the earth, and that every inclination of the thoughts of the human heart was only evil all the time. Genesis 6,
Only
verse 5.
evil.
In a
Only
nutshell,
evil.
before the flood,
Even the
humanity
babies.
expanded and
Only
diversified.
evil.
Families turned into tribes, roles turned into professions, and civilization took its first steps.
This dude is just, once again,
Look at this shit.
he's just making shit up. Like, yes, they did have professions, but it's not like it was like Shetnar, the
evil.
Lord of Sheep.
They're evil professions.
Yes, evil professions. They always have to picture them as barbarians, which okay. They really don't like pagans, who they eventually
Invasion of Nephilim 3.
I know. Once again, here we are. We're up to Nephilim. If you believe in giants, please, for the love of Bob, it's like flat Earth. How is there people? And the thing about some of these people, like Nephilim, like, he takes himself so seriously that you're like, wow, how does someone who believes in giants just, oh my goodness.
As the self-appointed commander of the kingdom of darkness, Satan summoned his evil
The
legions to
self-appointed commander of darkness.
infiltrate humanity with the intent of polluting the
Was it
Adamic
hard?
line leading to the Messiah. Genesis 6, verses 1 to 2. When human beings began to increase in number on the earth, and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw the daughters of humans were beautiful, and they
It's just a random window on the screen. I'm sorry. It's been all of these like horrible medieval pictures, and it's like a woman in a tank top.
married any of them they
Who's
chose.
that guy?
Who were the sons of God?
He's a mysterious bad boy.
The book of Job characterizes them as angels. 2/3 of the angels stayed with God in the third heaven, elect angels, while 1/3 were ejected, Satan's fallen angels. God's kingdom was thriving
How is there fallen angels? It makes no sense. He knew they were going to fall, but he created them anyway. Okay.
in number and in strength. Feeling threatened, the Prince of Darkness called upon his evil legions to infiltrate humankind. These fallen angels descended on earth and gave birth to the Nephilim, or giants. The Hebrew word for Nephilim translates as fallen. This satanic invasion of Genesis.
Can we also point out how stupid that is? Did you just hear what they said?
Extremely
The angels mated with the humans to make giants.
Naturally. Naturally.
Okay. Exactly.
6 corrupted the whole world. The sons of God saw the daughters of men. It is more accurate to see the sons of God as either demons, angels in rebellion against God, or uniquely demon-possessed men in a
Uniquely demon-possessed men. Also, they had no choice in that. Like, they're just bored. I like how they're evil, too. Everything he doesn't like is evil. What's up, Noah Chad? What's up, Mark? Yes, exactly. Yo, free will applies up until the point that God doesn't want it to apply anymore. And then he just yeets you. Just chucks you
daughters
away.
of men as human women. The wickedness of mankind, Genesis 6, verses 1 to 5. In the early chapters of Genesis, specifically in Genesis 6, verses 1 to 5, the Bible paints a picture of the world before the flood. Genesis 6, verses 3 to 5. Then the Lord said, "My spirit will not remain with man forever, because he is also flesh. Nevertheless, his days shall be 120 years." The Nephilim were on earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God came into the daughters of mankind.
If they're only 120 years, compared to 900, these people are young.
Very useful. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and after that also. Just, yeah.
Also, can I
before that, during that.
Can I point out that if you're going to live to 900 and you punish your children within days, you're kind of a dick. I could have spent 900 years with my kids, but I kicked them out of my house after, just a few days because they messed up once. I'm sorry. Can we call Child Protective Services?
And they bore children to them. Those were the mighty men who were of old, men of renown. Then the Lord saw that the wickedness of mankind was great on the earth, and that
men of renown, like who? Who exactly are these men of renown? Because you say renown.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
not only
right. That so who were they?
Well, their names were blank and also blank.
Huh.
That's right.
Go figure.
It's math. What's up, Shade?
Earth was not a place of peace or kindness, but one filled with sin, violence, and moral
Fire
corruption.
sword.
Imagine a world where
He is running out of stock footage. He's starting to use 3D models now.
people are consumed by their own desires, always seeking to do whatever they want, regardless of the cost to others. Honesty, integrity, and kindness are not virtues that are celebrated or even understood. Instead, deceit and manipulation rule the day. Everyone is out for themselves, and the very fabric of society is torn apart.
Isn't that what they think our society is right now?
Basically.
By selfishness and wickedness. In such an environment, families are not sanctuaries of love and support, but rather battlefields of deceit and betrayal.
Battlefields of deceit and betrayal. Whew, someone's got some mommy and daddy issues, but okay.
Betrayal. Neighbors don't look out for each other. They look to exploit one another. Governments are not institutions of justice, but rather systems of oppression, upholding the rule of the powerful over the weak.
Depends government to government, unfortunately.
Now, insert into this chaotic world an unusual development, the Nephilim. The Nephilim was special and not like regular people.
Yeah, they're giants for no reason.
They're not like regular people. Amy, did you know that? Did you get the memo on that, Amy? They're not regular
James,
people.
James, did you know that unicorns are not like regular horses?
I mean, yeah, I guess that they're not.
I think this guy just heard "Love is a Battlefield" and was just like, I really like that lyric. It's true. We are all having the sexy time at all times.
They were really strong and larger than life, but they seemed to make the world's problems even worse. They were admired, feared, and perhaps even worshipped, pulling people further away from the true God who had created them. Their might made them objects of fascination, but they were part of a world that was spiraling further and further.
So two things. Both that Noah was 600 years old. Please always point that out. If you're ever debating about Noah, please just casually bring this up, because I know it's not 900 years, but 600-year-old man built the only boat that saved humanity and all of life. Give me.
Well, I mean, he had his kids, his 3 sons.
Exactly.
But Amy, I mean, what if Noah and his sons were 15 to 20 feet tall? I mean, they could be swinging. They could be taking down entire trees.
Oh, and he was a drunk too. Thank you, Wade.
Which is what
also
Kenobi estimated that they would have been 15 to 20 feet tall. Noah and his sons. That's according to
There's
Dr.
just something about him in 15 feet. I get the feeling. Ooh, sending love out to you, Porpoise. I hope you do get your textbooks.
Further into chaos and sin. It was in this context that God saw the wickedness of mankind. Spiritual and moral decline.
Look at those wicked. They're doing wicked things. Look at this one over here. There's acting all crazy. Then this guy's just being shady.
God's grief over creation. Humanity, the crown jewel of creation, had lost its way. Rather than living in harmony with each other and the world, people were consumed by violence, wickedness, and deceit. God looked down upon his creation and felt an immense sorrow. The Bible says, the Lord regretted that he had made human beings on the earth, and his heart.
At all? It's a God.
How does he feel regret? you can't regret something that you did, knowing what would happen beforehand, and then you say, "Damn, I wish I hadn't done that." But you knew that beforehand.
And thank you. I thought about that the first time I heard this. How? Yeah, regret. A God having regret can't then change the future. Make it
We
not
regret
happen.
because we can't go back. We can't undo something, and we don't always know the consequences of what we do. We don't know the ramifications of it at times. We say, "Damn, I wish I hadn't done that." But God would know all that.
Just makes too much sense.
Heart was deeply troubled. Genesis 6, verse 6. New International Version. It was a divine grief, a sorrow so deep it transcended human understanding. Imagine a parent, heartbroken over the actions of a wayward child, yet infinitely magnified. And so, in his great pain, God made a difficult decision.
He's going to
Genesis
kill
6,
people?
verse 7, Amplified Bible. So the Lord said, I will destroy, annihilate man.
Yeah. He made a difficult call.
A difficult decision.
I was going to have the red wine. The white wine looks good. I think I'm going to go with murdering everyone. Do you do that here?
Right. The guy with the mustache, he made a difficult decision on what to do with the Jews that he didn't like.
Oh my. Godwin, I just want to say Godwin came out in favor of using it towards a specific person.
Mankind whom I have created from the surface of the earth, not only man, but the animals and the crawling things and the birds of the air, because it deeply grieves me to see mankind sin, and I regret that I have made them. God was upset.
You know, he could have given us our nature, his nature, right? So God doesn't have to struggle not to sin. He just is who he is, and he arbitrarily defined that as morality. So him being moral is just him being himself. That's what he is. But he didn't give us that nature. He gave us a different nature, so we have to constantly struggle and fight to conform to his. But he's saying it makes him sad to see that. It makes him sad to see us do things he doesn't like. Well, that's the way he made us.
Hammer says, James, I've done stuff I knew I'd regret and did it anyway. See my last night. That's okay. That's sending so much love out there. I know the feels. And yeah, Yahweh is a drama queen. Yeah. He's not very good also.
Ultimate.
Yeah, speaking of relationships, I would not want to have a personal relationship with this guy.
The ultimate Karen.
Ultimate Karen.
By the actions of the people he made, and was left with no other option to heal the world spiraling into chaos. Noah, a righteousness man.
Was he though? He was like the town drunk, as you know, was pointed out. And this is where we all come from, supposedly, because everyone else dies. Also, like,
he's had no other options, but he's God. He has infinite number. He always has options. He can do whatever he wants.
And I agree, Dapper. It's better to regret something, at least, than to not have done it. And we learn from our mistakes. It's the hardest thing, but it's right. Be like Luffy, no regrets. And Shane, watching too much One Piece.
But even in the midst of this dark chapter of human history, there was a glimmer of hope. A man named Noah. Genesis 6, verse 8.
A glimmer of hope. Is that what all of the people said as they were drowning? Hope!
Noah found favor and grace in the eyes of the Lord. The world had gone astray, but Noah stood out as a beacon of hope, a man of integrity and faith. Genesis 6, verse 9, Amplified Bible. These are the records of the generations, family history of Noah. Noah was a righteous man, one who was just and had the right standing.
Here we go.
In his evil generation, Noah walked, lived in habitual faith.
And I will say, that is true. As James says, we're coming to the end of the video, because this was before the flood, and if you don't know already, Noah is the main character.
Is that Calasia?
I don't think so.
fellowship with God.
Jim.
Noah was born
Yes.
into the lineage of Adam, descending through Seth, Enoch, Kenan, and several other ancestors who carried the torch of righteousness through the generations. Eventually, this lineage led to Noah, a man who not only carried the torch, but allowed it to shine brightly in his life. He was also a family man. Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Ham,
He was
He's
a
a
family
family
man. And everyone else is about to die. And it's like, yeah, okay.
and Japheth. As a loving father and a faithful husband, he instilled in his children the same virtues he carried in his heart. Despite the surrounding darkness, Noah's household was a sanctuary of godliness. Even when God shared his sorrowful decision to
And
wash away the
drunkenness.
wickedness that plagued the earth through a flood that would drown
What is
every
he, Jesus?
living thing,
The way that-
Noah's faith
Oh,
did not waver. He understood the gravity of the task ahead and accepted it with a heavy but resolute heart. God said,
And again, he's a prophet. I sincerely dislike, because my mother would not let me. The only curse word I can't use is hate. I severely do not like prophethood. I think that it is the number one con in institutionalized religion. And I say that very specifically because you can be religious without having a prophet. You know, you could just be spiritual. And, you know, it is this middleman for God. It's a Ponzi scheme.
I am going to put an end to all people, for the earth is filled with violence because of them. I am surely going to destroy both them and the earth. Genesis 6, verse 13.
And it sure helped a lot too, because after that, the world's not full of violence anymore. I mean, it's
Exactly.
Great job, God.
The plan worked after, if you guys don't know the story, after Noah and the flood, there was world peace, and there has been world peace ever since, right? I think.
Right, because God had to flood the world because there was violence everywhere. And, obviously we don't have that today because that would be pointless, right? Why flood the world if there's just going to be violence anyway?
It would make all this kind of pointless, and it would make the suffering just look like a dick move. You know what I mean?
Like, he really didn't care about violence. He just wanted to inflict more of it.
Exactly.
See, Noah did what God told him to do, even though people around him made fun of him or didn't believe something bad was going to happen.
Like Forrest. What?
Look at this guy making a boat. Look at this, so stupid with his boat. Hey, what's a boat? I don't know, but let's make fun of him for it. Oh,
like,
this is where, James, it's finally come. It's been an hour and 53 minutes. I couldn't help it. That's all I thought about while I was watching this. Was like, he was the only dude who can make a boat? Really? And it has to be the biggest boat ever?
So, Noah is Forrest Gump and God is the sergeant. And God's like, Noah, what is your main purpose of living? And Noah's like, to do what you tell me to do, Yahweh. Absolutely. That's perfect answer. That's the best answer I ever heard.
Oh,
He spent years building the ark, warning people.
I also like the design. I'm sorry, I don't want to go back, but I just look at this thing. Like, it's just wow, the engineers really came together to create this aerodynamic thing.
Yeah, just don't let it rain too much, or water damage.
Yeah. If you don't know what we're talking about, there is actually a recreated Ark Park where, after being flooded in real life, they sued for water damage. Not that great of an ark, then. Oh, still.
People about
From the intense amount of rain, I mean, it rained for like 2 nights, and the ark's already damaged.
The designer in me dies. I laugh, but when I see stuff like that, it just dies on the inside.
What, the ark?
It's a box. It's a box.
Well,
I could make no offense. Now listen. I can make, and I stand by this, I can make any, if you were to put any object in front of me that is non-organic, okay? And that's important for like a really big reason. I can 3D model, recreate any object in my room or almost any object that someone were to give to me, as long as it's not made of flesh. Now, that's because making things that are non-organic is pretty easy, because like we make everything, we have sharp cuts, and you can see that we just make very easy shapes. And so to just add a little spice, a little bit of time, a little bit of anything into the design. But no, he's chosen from God, so he went with the box.
Well, okay. It doesn't, all it's going to do is float. It's not going anywhere, so wherefore it just got to float.
Well, hold on one second, James. You lagged for just a second.
Well, Amy, it's just got to float. It doesn't have to go anywhere. There's nowhere even to go. It's just floating there. It could be a box if God wants it to be a box.
Just be a box. Of course. And it can handle all the storms and all the wonderfulness.
Oh, well, Amy, maybe God put the ark where the waves were not that, where it was peaceful. Wasn't really bad where God put the ark. Yeah, right. The bad shit was happening in other parts of the world.
BTWF Wayne says, did math one day. If there were 30,000 ark animals, they'd produce an average of, is it 11 pounds? 11 pounds of doo-doo per minute. Think there was only one window on the... I know. Oh, my goodness. That's a terrible smell and lots of shoveling.
Well, and the thing is, lots of animal feces produces methane and other combustible gases, and how are you going to see in that arc? So you would have to have candlelight of some kind. So basically, the thing would have detonated as soon as anybody tried to turn a light on or anything.
That would not have been fun.
To this gigantic wooden refuge. As the sky finally broke open and the earth was swallowed by water, Noah's virtues became the cornerstone.
Also, it started raining and no one was like, hey, maybe we should try to... I don't know. I guess, it's raining, so you don't want to build a boat. I feel like no one tried to get on the boat. No one tried to rob him and just steal a boat. None of that.
Stone for a new world. His faithfulness and obedience preserved life, and from his lineage would emerge the nation of a cleansed earth. Thus, in a world spiraling into chaos, Noah's light shone the brightest, a testament to the enduring power of virtue and faith in the face of...
Remember, ladies and gentlemen, if you believe in God, he too can murder everyone and leave you as his chosen. Wonderful.
Where do I sign up?
Yeah, where do I sign up? Where's the Kool-Aid?
Overwhelming darkness. God's covenant with Noah. Genesis 6, verses 17 to 20. The ark was Noah's family.
See, it's very well. Look. It's about to be a submarine, but it'll be fine. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, come on. We all live in a wooden submarine, Yeah.
I think there's also been by secular people who have tried to create it, and it fails every time because, like, you need metal. I
it's
really
way
don't
too
know
big
the correct
to be
terminology.
done without.
Yeah, you need certain. I'm trying to think of the right term. Connective abilities that are only done through metal.
Yeah,
so I would be very impressed.
You can't have a wood chip that big. The wood warps. It's going to let water in.
Right.
It's just not suitable for.
I interrupt the special announcement. My girlfriend got me a cheesesteak, Philly cheesesteak. An extra shout out to Rachel. Okay, we are at the end of it. And then I'm probably going to hand it off to you for the open mic, James. I'll wait till someone joins.
Wait for
and then I am waking up at 5. Though I have enjoyed this. And I told you, the 1.5 actually feels normal.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
To carry them above the waters that would soon envelop the earth. God told Noah, make yourself an ark of gopher wood, make rooms in the ark, and cover it inside and out with pitch.
Gopher wood, okay.
Genesis 6, verse 14.
Oh my goodness, at least this has a fucking cabin up in here. My goodness.
God provided Noah with very specific dimensions, designs, and plans for the ark. This wasn't a regular boat, it was a special ship designed to save the last living things when the world was flooded.
Special ship.
14 to 16.
Sinister says, we now know that shortly after the Ark, Mesopotamians quickly regained the ability to build wooden submarines. See Ether 10, 11 to 20 in the book of Vernon. Gosh darn it. That man. A real con artist. A recorded con artist. But it gets so complicated because you get people away and then their sources of news are what you absorb. I'm starting to understand why Mormons believe Mormonism, because it's just the country's big, and you didn't have an internet, you didn't have phones. We're still running around on horses, and so he could get people far enough away to where if you're the only source of information, he probably sounded, if he's a charismatic guy, he probably sounded good. But my lordy, wooden submarines.
It was to be 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high, equipped with a door.
Once again, we're back to the box model, but
and a window, and divided into multiple levels.
With the window.
Converting the dimensions to modern-day measurements, this would be 450 feet long,
like a prison
75
ship.
feet wide, and 45 feet tall. It would have a door and a window and would be split.
James, it's basically a cruise ship. I'm sorry. It just sounds so good.
Royal Caribbean on the side there, and
I asked for a Mormon sub in Salt Lake City. They handed me a grilled cheese.
Split into different floors. God said, "This is how you shall make it." Genesis 6, verse 15.
Did he?
And so, Noah began the monumental task of constructing the ark. It wasn't easy. Many ridiculed him.
Yeah, because he was 600 years old. Who cares about people teasing him, okay? He's 600 years old. His great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandkids probably have already gotten over the teasing. Ooh, I'm a troublemaker. I like it. What's up, KCR? Welcome on board.
Him and questioned his sanity, but Noah had faith. As the years went by and the
it's
woods
that
took
dove.
shape, a magnificent ark stood tall.
oh, yeah,
and
he's
underneath
just got
it,
fucking crazy.
Noah's obedience and faithfulness. God also provided Noah with instructions on who and what to.
Where was the dove? Oh, no, he let the dove out. Okay, he had the dove. Okay, because all the other birds died.
He had the dove.
I was going to say, it's always like the fish that are the
No,
ones
he kept
that
birds
actually...
in the ark. He took
Yes,
birds on the ark.
It's the fish that get away easy because they are technically the original generation, right? Let the doves out.
Fish, yeah, there were no fish on the ark. Oh, they had plenty of water. They didn't need to be on the ark.
Would have sunk within 3 hours. Yeah, there's no boat that would have worked like this.
To bring into the ark. His wife, his sons Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and their wives were to come aboard. Furthermore, God told Noah to bring.
I also like how that's the only family that he has for being 600 years old.
How
Maybe they just didn't have a
was he
pill
when he
back
got
then?
on the ark. I don't know if he was where in his life cycle he was at the time. I'm not sure.
I don't know
Maybe
either.
400, 300, 500. Who knows?
2 of all living creatures, male and female, to keep them alive. You shall take with you 7, each of every clean animal, a male and
That's
his
right,
female.
because God made Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. Got him a male and a female.
Though Adam and Eve with Steve, now there's a threesome.
Also 7 each of birds of the air, male and female, to keep their species alive on the face of the earth.
Oh, this ends
Genesis 7,
abruptly.
verses
I
2 to
remember.
3.
For no
Noah
reason.
did everything just as God had commanded him. Genesis 6, verse 22.
Boom, and it's over. Might be maybe there's a sequel or something to it. But there we go, ladies and gentlemen, from Grace Digital Network.
Christmas special.
Oh, that was before the flood. James, there was so much wisdom in there.
Actually,
My
Shane,
goodness.
you should talk to T-Rock on SFT about that. Well, on some of the plants, they could have survived somehow under the water, and then the water, and then they could regrow. Could happen. No.
But all right, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, misfits one and all, I am going to be sending the open mic
Chat
link into chat. Feel free to do so. I'm going to introduce you, and then I'm probably going to head out here. But I love you all, and it has been a fantastic time. We have been Skeptic and Ranting on Before the Flood. Everyone likes when you hear clickety-clack. And I'm going to pin it. Night, Dapper. Yeah, the stories in the Bible just have no logistics. Because they didn't really think. I don't think the goat herders who were writing,
they didn't,
or even orally saying this 3,000 plus years ago, thought that, we'd probably still
they didn't know about half the animals in existence. They didn't know.
Yes. And that's being generous.
So they really just thought all you need to do is get a big fucking boat, load it up with animals, take food for them, everything will be fine, right? We know that wouldn't work, but at the time it seemed like a reasonable thing to do. So,
also, Shane, you have no idea how true that is. With bacon too.
Oh, of course, there's bacon on it.
James, I have to fulfill my destiny.
Sacrifices to Baphomet.
That's right. I haven't seen her. That lady is gone. Oh, Baphomet. He's so cute. Who wouldn't want to sacrifice your soul to him?
Matt Powell.
Matt Powell already sacrificed his soul to Ken Hoven. And actually, what I'll do I'm going to put a 15-minute counter. And Ember already came on. I'm going to put no minute counter. We're going to go right to it. We're going into the open mic because we are Skeptic and Ranting on Before the Flood. Anything else, James? I think that is basically...
I think that's about it.
My spiel. Go check out my debates on Modern Debate. Go check out Ember and Mark's debates, as well as Leo's. There's been a bunch of fantastic MDD debates you guys should all be checking out. And I think T-Jump is actually on the docket, too. Oh, he is. They're on right now. Maybe I should send them.
What's the debate?
Oh, it's Moon Landing. It's Moon Landing with Mark Reid. Can't help but send love to them over there. Okay. I thought it was going to be tomorrow. I was going to give a shout out. But we are going to go.
Your name is Ernesto?
Into the open mic because we have been skeptic and ranting before the flood. Wrong button, Amy. Gizmo was shouting at me. Woo! Actually, I do want to just showcase you for a second because look at that lovely shirt. Woohoo! Sending a lot of transparent out there. But welcome, Enver. We are skeptic and ranting on Before the Flood. Welcome on board. I want to thank you for sending so much fun and loves over to us. We're sending that love back to you. But what are your thoughts about the subject, the video, or anything we've been talking about tonight?
Well, there's a lot of questions about Noah's Ark. As you know, my most recent debate over on the other channel involved Noah's Ark. We still have no sign of the damn thing. You'd think there'd be evidence somewhere, but I kind of wonder if God sent down plans and blueprints and instructions, why not build a, steel cruise ship with all the amenities? Why not, have satellite TV? If he knows all. Or a spaceship even, then you don't have that whole seasickness thing. Just go hang out in orbit for a year.
Well, because once you to make it work, God would have to supernaturally intervene at so many different places that what's the point? He might have as well just granted Noah and his family the ability to breathe underwater, and that would be a lot simpler than this fucking charade with the boat and everything, and having to care for the animals, make sure they don't all kill themselves. We got the heat problem. We don't have an answer for that. They don't care about that. God made it work. It doesn't matter. Heat problem, speed problem.
That's right. Or you build another dome, a little dome to put over Noah's farm with all the animals and things, and they can just hang out there until the big dome is cleared out or something.
It's true. They love domes. Come on.
They do. Who doesn't love a dome? I mean,
exactly.
Well, Mark Reid's busy tonight, but
And we're sending love over to them. I don't know anyone that they're versing. They're up against Dr. Raja Hari and Neat Pride. I would still take my bet on Mark and T-Jump.
Very much so. I mean, they're both very good. I don't know about these new guys. Maybe they're good new guys, but I don't know. It's pretty ishy.
It's a moonlighting debate?
Yeah. It's I haven't really watched much of it because I was doing my own show and then I came over here and etc. So I don't know what's going on. But they don't have the normal Zoom frame. It looks like they're going straight through StreamYard this time. And there's a pinned message asking people to email if they want to participate. Maybe it's part of a restructuring thing to make the place a bit more, not horrible. Which would be cool.
I'm all up to, StreamYard, as well as he has actually invited me on debates lately, which has been a lot of fun. And so, I don't know, sending love to all of my skeptic brothers, sisters, and everything in between out there.
Hell yeah. But yeah, I mean, so it seems weird to me. Like we often say God can't possibly be the moral perfect being because we're all more moral than that God. Like, we don't even have to be that moral. Like, as Eric from Skeptics and Scoundrels points out, you could still do the flood and kill everyone and just drown one less baby, and you're more moral than that God is. I feel like it's the same sort of problem with the design of the flood scenario. Like, God is supposed to be all-knowing and the smartest being of all time, and yet every single person in this chat can think of at least 5 ways to do that whole thing less stupidly.
Yeah, it just seems like if you're God, you could just do a whole bunch of other things than like the giant box boat. But that's just me.
Well, Ember, maybe if you were as smart as God, you would understand it. Maybe if you had an IQ of like 800 trillion, like he does, you might get it. But
I mean, if I were a made up being, then I could, maybe understand any made up thing.
Right.
That's what we're all doing wrong. We should all be mythological. We're all way too real. We're way too serious about this existing business.
They also
you might think it's
really get angry.
You might think it's stupid for somebody to be their own father and their own son, but it makes perfect sense to God.
I mean, whatever you're into.
Well, I mean, okay.
Legal consenting adults. I'm just gonna.
Are they legal? Like Adam and Eve weren't legal.
No, they were children. I get in this argument a lot because they paint them in like all of our media as like fully grown adults. They were days old, and God was like, boink.
Yep, get out.
Well, I mean,
that whole thing about exposure.
God could talk to them, so I mean, they had to have some intelligence, right?
Yeah, a lot of the moral folk they're big mad about pre-Christian times with all the infanticide, except it was actually the Christians committing all the infanticide. But never mind that. This whole concept of leaving the child out to die of exposure, be eaten by bears, or possibly saved by a random passing stranger, who knows, it's in God's hands, it's not my problem. It's actually a very Christian thing to do, because that's exactly what God did. He took his babies and said, out you go, good luck. Try not to die.
Bye.
Well, I mean, if God wants the baby to survive, God will make sure the baby survives, right? So, I mean, you
like Mowgli, send wolves to bring furs and meats and things. Yeah,
you gotta trust in God.
But then that's just so weird, because at that point, it's like God's like, okay, I want to have kids, and I want to, I want to follow them around forever. I just don't want them in the house that I was telling them was going to be the perfect place forever for. Okay.
Yep. And then we gotta hide the garden. We gotta keep it safe. My favorite part of the whole thing, though, is the reason they were kicked out of the garden is because they couldn't be allowed to have eternal life. And then along comes Jesus going, hey, have some eternal life. That's why he was crucified, because he rebelled against his father.
Well, I mean,
eternal life on sale.
You can put your trust in Jesus, but you can't put your trust in a piece of fruit for eternal life.
You wouldn't trust your brain made of just atoms and quarks and things, would you? Trust this book made of atoms and quarks and things.
I will say that I would trust a fruit over God.
The fruit's never lied to you, has it? The fruit doesn't maliciously attack other people, does it?
That's true.
I have a thing for that, but it's being slow. There we go. Strawberry Jesus.
My Strawberry Jesus.
My favorite Jesus, because he's a little fruity.
He looks delicious.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love some strawberries. That's my favorite. Put his ass in a blender with some milk. Have a nice strawberry shake.
Now I can't turn him off because my buttons are being weird.
You've become Strawberry Jesus.
Oh no. Apparently there's 2 devices connected to my touch command. I gotta reboot the thing. Yeah. Technical difficulties.
That's okay. You know what I'll do? You go back, and I'm gonna stay until ever. I said I was gonna leave as soon as you came, but then we started talking.
If no one else comes on, maybe we'll go to 2.5 hours, another 10 minutes.
Oh yeah, do you have work in the morning?
Not really early, but I mean, if
okay, we'll go. That's true. Let's do this until 2:30, and then if no one,
2.5.
I'll say very specifically, if no one comes on, also that doesn't disagree with us.
How do we do that? How do we get
Ember's like, oh, I can
disagreement?
find disagreements. I need to go to sleep, good
I
sir.
think the
Yum
arc
turned
was
it
a
over.
great idea.
I didn't see any of our usual suspects out there, our P-Towns or...
Can I tell you, I feel like our theists are getting lighter, and I don't know if it's just because of just to our audience, and we have a very skeptical audience, but we used to have very crazy people. Maybe just Titan is becoming better. Well, he's always been a good mod. Maybe we're just seeing the results of Titan being a...
Or maybe you're too good at your job, Amy, and you've deconverted all the theists.
That's right. They're, because of James and myself, they're now all atheists or agnostics.
That's right.
I like Commie Jesus. Well, I always say that, Jesus does, have a little bit of a socialist communist bent. He's giving things out.
Commie Jesus? Because he's very, very red?
Oh, my. I like his angels around him.
Join the party, comrade. I don't know. I also enjoy Cat Jesus.
Oh my. Okay. Now there is definitely a Jesus I would worship. I would give that Jesus a lot of scritches.
And then
also
there's Bigfoot Jesus. Listen, I also, can I tell you this? Okay, and I have to tell this story.
Tell us.
Even though, because he ended up being a very nice guy. But I had someone named James email me once and was like, we're having a Sasquatch debate. And I'm like, oh, okay. Sasquatch, okay. And I'm setting up and I'm getting ready. And he sends me the links and everything. And it's a completely another James. First of all, I always joke that there's so many James. There's a James here, James of MDD. There was another James who had a Sasquatch channel. And I was now specifically modding on his. Now, like I said, I stone-faced it. Was like, all right, this is what I expected. And I'm moderating here now on the Sasquatch channel. It was just... I just took it for granted. James said, let's mod a debate. I'm going to debate. And look, that James out there, you were lovely and you're a nice guy. And so I would do it again. It was just a funny thing. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, the Noah story is just one of those things that, like, it's a good amount of their science. Like, when we go up against evolution, this is who we're going up against. The Noah story.
And thank goodness it's not true. Thank goodness it's legend. Thankfully, right?
Thank goodness it is bullshit.
Yep, there's lots
there
of
no
lots and lots of ways to destroy the world.
Flooding entire planets.
And drowning is particularly painful. Like, not to just be like an anti-waterboarding, but to be an anti-waterboarding for like just a second. We probably, I don't know, if you could poof
God
them out of
waterboard the whole
existence
planet?
like Thanos, we should do that instead of maybe drowning everyone.
Yeah, who was it? Inspiring Philosophy, Mike Winger, I forget which one. One of them, their critters, made the argument that while the world was flooding, God was secretly poofing people directly into heaven so that they didn't have to drown because he's loving. If he didn't do that, he wouldn't be loving. Never mind, the book doesn't say that. We know he's loving, so we have to conclude he did that.
That's interesting, just because I've never heard that before, but that's not biblical at all. But
if God's flooding the whole world because people are assholes, and what does God care about violence? Or no, he really doesn't care about that. What does he care about? He cares about people not worshiping him. So that means these people are not worshiping him, so they're going to hell. Okay, because they don't worship God. So he doesn't really care if you kill, steal, rape, whatever. not a big deal to him. What he does care about is if you don't worship him. And so
I also want to know what changed. Not like James, you were saying earlier. Nothing changed.
It's the same shit.
As far as we can tell, was it worse back then?
Oh,
Well,
yeah. It was just
one
so
thing
much
changed.
worse.
We got rainbows.
That's right. Woo! Oh, I need to find my thing. Hold on.
Ember wasn't around when we did our Reclaim the Rainbow episode. That was one of like our first year. They had a
Was that
Christian
when,
pastor talking about reclaiming the rainbow as a symbol of God, not as a symbol of the gay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I see that worked out real well for Ken Ham. Now he's got a big gay boat.
A big gay boat.
Gosh darn it. I'm trying to find my sounds gay, I'm inside.
Oh, my upstairs housemate has a shirt that says that. He also has a shirt that says, "Are you going to eat that?" But kind of gay way, you know.
That turn the friggin' frogs gay.
Well, I also like him because I just want to say he likes just, specific ladies according to the stuff that pops up in his background anyway.
Oh my.
But we're going to add in Disciple Day. Disciple, you're going to be our last person, I do believe. What is up, Chris? Welcome on board. We are Skeptic Ranting on Before the Flood. Glad to have you on. And what are your thoughts about the video, the topic, or anything we're talking about?
Hi, Amy. Hi, James.
Nice holiday with your family.
Hello.
I did. I had a great time with my family, and New Year started off well.
Good to hear.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, it was. I half watched the video. I was spending time with my wife, and so I was half watching it. Some parts I saw of it I thought were weird.
You went off script.
The imagery was interesting. It was on my phone, so it was hard to see everything on my my eyes aren't the best for a tiny screen. So yeah, some stock or AI or whatever it was, but it was. I had the same comical thought you guys had when it showed the and the women. They found the women beautiful, and all of a sudden you have all these weird imagery, and then you just have some woman there.
Yeah, it's just a modern woman in a tank top. It's like, hi.
I thought that's
like,
so funny.
Okay.
Just like the change of it's like, well, we have all these weird things, but everyone needs to see.
Couldn't find peasant woman in like stock.com or whatever.
So it was funny. You put it right as I was thinking that, like, well, that's an odd. It just looks, the optics on it were weird. It just looked weird. And then you pointed it out and thinking that's funny. So, I'm a skeptic, I'm a Christian. And so,
shit just got real.
Like literally. Yeah. And I have some different perspectives on the Noah story than I did before. One thing I found really, just kind of a lesson I find really interesting that I certainly believe, not talking about the God stuff and whatever there, is that there seems to be this idea that when human beings destroy the planet. So again, we don't have to agree with the narrative, right? I'm not sure about the flood narrative, but let's say human beings have somehow destroyed, that it affects even the animals, right? Because that's part of the narrative is like, it's because I used to, it's like, why in the heck the animals? Like, what did these poor things do? And it's like, but that's also a reality in our world today is like, when we destroy the earth, it affects the animals too, right? We need to think outside of ourselves as humans because it's not only us we're hurting. And, so that I just found that an interesting thing in the story. It's like, hey, it's like, why the heck the animals? It's like, yeah, you know what? Here's a reality. When we mess things up, it hurts others. And again, I'm not talking about from God's perspective, except for the what?
Fish get off easy.
That's because, who can hurt a fish? They're
we leave those to the sinister porpoise to deal with.
Yeah.
That's right.
The fish. But anyway, I was just mainly coming in to say hi, and it had been a bit since I got to talk. I enjoyed talking to you guys. I've had a bit of stress in my life lately, which is, everyone does. But so when I saw you were on, I'm like, oh, good. I can get in, have some fun, get some stress relief. I find this educational and entertaining, and that's what makes it great because it's both. I mean, that's what more can I ask for? It's both humorous and classy at the same time. You come in with the low blows, but that's fine because I know your hearts. You know what I mean? We've gotten to know each other, and so it's like, and this is just a way we play, isn't it? Like, isn't that what we're doing? We're having fun together. We're adults. We're playing together in one of the ways adults play together.
It's
And,
comedy. This is
I
comedy.
like everything you just said.
A lot of it's not serious.
Yeah, well, it's just wouldn't it be great if more people would just communicate this way? Just be real with each other, have fun with each other, not be afraid to say something that might hurt someone's feelings, but because you did it in love, right? Like if you hate, it's a totally different game, right? But just to come together and be like, hey, we're all trying to figure out life together. We've all got different ideas. We've got different things we believe, different things we that are important to us, the things that aren't important to us. And yet we're all humans just going through this thing, learning it together. And what an amazing time we live in that, we can just get together on the internet and chat and be social and be friends and, have fun. Ember's vaping or whatever. Is that a vape?
Yeah, I don't do New Year's resolutions, but I coincidentally quit smoking for New Year because that's when my cigarettes ran out. And these are helping me not murder everyone around me while I deal with the transition.
Yeah,
we're doing lots of transitions around these parts lately.
I remember. Do you remember the old Roseanne show, like the old one? I know there was some kind of reboot on Netflix.
80s, late 80s, early 90s Roseanne.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was one. It was like the pot episode, so the marijuana episode, and you reminded me of I think it was there where there was this quote where they found some pot, right? Roseanne and was it Dan? Right? I think it was Roseanne and Dan were their names, right?
Yeah, they found their 20-year-old stash or whatever.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, see, and they smoke it, and they go like, "When did we quit?" And it was like, "We didn't quit. We just ran out." Do you remember that? That was the response, and then they get stoned and paranoid, and it's funny they don't remember where their kid is or something. But I don't know. When you said that, Ember, it made me think of that episode.
Mm-hmm.
We just ran out. So so this is it though. You're trying to quit. Is that what? Did I understand you correctly?
Yeah. It seemed like a good time. I started a new job where they don't allow smoking in the trucks or on property. There's ways I still could, but also I'm very poor and cigarettes are very expensive, and I've been meaning to get around to quitting anyway, and et cetera, et cetera. The things all just seem to line up. I'm like, I should just fucking do it.
Yeah.
The stars went like this, and then you went, I'm a skeptic. What does that mean?
Right.
Yeah. Well, I'll say I'll be praying for you, and you can just hear I'm sending good vibes.
Right.
That way we're both happy.
That's right. Also sending so much love, Nitty. Hey, trust me, these guys deserve to be roasted twice. So welcome on board. And I think Nitty said he was eyeing up this guy as well. This person also, James is right. Some of these people, they have no followers and they're just little things. This person has 1.7 million subscribers. That video we just watched. He couldn't apparently, once again. That's where all that stock footage is coming from.
Oh, for real? What was the name of his channel? I'm just curious. That video was someone who has over 1 million subscribers.
1 million. I know. Isn't that crazy?
Grace Digital Network.
Thank you.
Okay.
I wonder if is it a
Ember,
real
I'm
person?
now paying you double whatever I was paying you before.
Woohoo! Upgrade.
Now he's smoking again. You just got him smoking again, Amy.
Well, I get paid the same as James Tour.
Oh, okay.
Oh God. Oh, I was debating the ghost of James Tour in the last debate. Sending love to Sal and Taylor.
Oh my.
Yes, we are going to go in. I think we're going to go in opposite order. I normally do in the order you come in, but you were just talking, Chris, and so we'll go Ember, Chris, James, myself, and we'll get out of here. It has been a fantastic night, y'all. We have been skeptic and ranting on the before the flood. Now hold on a second. Just let me make sure. But how long have they been doing the debate? Let me see. Because I want to do the sending over to people. How long have they been going on?
80 minutes, if my YouTube isn't lying to me.
Are they still doing it? They're still in the heat of it?
Oh, I'm behind. Let me see here. Oh, they're back in their Zoom windows. Look at that. But yeah, they are still going.
All right. I guess should I send them over there? That's the only person. Is that the only skeptic that I know of right now that is live? Do we have a skeptic that is live? Standing for Truth is live. Sending love over to him.
What's he doing? What's on that channel?
Oh boy.
The Great Olivet Discourse debate. That sounds like a Christian versus Christian. Olivet? Olivet.
Jackson Weed is on.
Chris,
apparently.
you know anything about that?
Jackson Weed.
He's debated Kenobi quite a few times. Yeah. You know what they're talking about, Chris?
What are they? What I forgive me for not paying attention. What's the title?
No.
I am not subscribed to Jackson Weed. He's a skeptic.
Yeah. Science guy.
Right. Subscribe.
What was the title of the debate?
I'll send them over. Give me 1 second. The Great Olivet Debate. I'm not really sure what that means.
Chris knew what that was.
I don't know what they mean offhand. I know when someone talks about like the Olivet Discourse, it's like the end of Matthew and Mark and Luke. But I wouldn't know specifically what their debate is. Sorry.
That is okay. And I'm trying to go as quickly as I can over to the video because you have to do it live, right? And then I'm going over and I go settings. I know this is the most amazing content ever. I'm sending love to all of you.
You should share screen so people can watch as you click.
Click. That is probably true.
Put a keyboard cam like a separate video feed.
We're going to just savey.
Oh, thanks, Chris. I appreciate
no
it.
matching found. Yeah, specific channel. Who can redirect? I'm pretty sure I did it correctly. Did I do it correctly? Jackson Reid.
You might have. We'll find out.
We'll find out. It's saying that there's no matching user. Oh! Because I have to do his name. I'm failing my IQ test. Jackson Wheat. There we go. A specific channels who can redirect to my content. No, that's not what I'm trying to do. That sounded like the right thing.
Are you in your...
Do you remember? Yeah, it's in the settings.
Yeah, to redirect your stream, you want to go to lives and then this video and edit this video and then click on customization. And the redirect will be
customization.
Down. Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha.
The channel settings is what you need to allow streams to redirect to you, which you do need to do.
Gotcha. Add redirect. Here we go. Oh, it's even letting me pick some streams and stuff. That is fantastic. Okay, let's see if I can get... I'll manually send over to Jackson, and then I'm going to continually shouting out Mark Reid and T-Jump. They are my brothers from another mother.
Check out Mark Reid this weekend. Saturday for us here in North America. Sunday morning for any other Aussies. We're doing the debate reviews. It's on his channel this week. So yeah.
What's on the video
for that? It's part 2 of Mike Lacona versus Dan Barker. We did the first part on my channel last week, but it's long. So Mark's doing part 2 this week.
All right, you know what? I can search other videos. Jackson. Keep on trying. I may have to do that next time. Okay. I'm gonna send them over to T-Jump, and Mark. You should all go check out Jackson Wheat. I just subscribed to Jackson Wheat though, and so
he has
I'll
much good
figure
science.
out. I'll figure out how to send it over to him. So in fact, I'll even send out Jackson Wheat's link into chat. So if you want to go to Jackson Wheat, you can actually go into his. Sister from another mister. I like that. All right, let's get into our outros. Enough of me talking. We're heading it off. We are Skeptic and Ranting on Before the Flood. Woohoo! Thank you for joining us, Ever. We have been Skeptic and Ranting on Before the Flood. Lovely having you on. As always, where can people find you, and what are your final thoughts?
Well, I tend to hang out here on YouTube, usually over at Better Than Number. But I have a bunch of other stuff. You can find links at betterthanreligion.com. Discord, technically I have a Twitter, but I'm never over there. All the fun things, but mostly on YouTube. And I pop up on Amy's channel from time to time, also for fun. Yeah, bunch of stuff going on. The debate review that I mentioned over at Mark's. Tomorrow, Stephanie Helms is going to be over at my place, and we're going to explore neopronouns.
Oh my.
I know, a lot of people find it strangely intimidating, but we're going to try to, dispel some of the obscurity about it. It's not something people need to worry about. So many people seem to feel like, oh, there's just too many genders and we can't keep track of things. And no, it's not like that at all.
Some of them make a lot of sense. It's not a gender, but a sexuality. I always try to sell to people is sapiosexuality. Are you turned on by intelligence? I just think sometimes people are scared by what they don't know. But
it's
yeah.
True. Yeah.
Ember, lovely having you on. As always, going to keep on saying you should go check out Ember's content on his channel, on MDD, on all of the fantastic Skeptic channels that he goes on. Ember, thank you for coming on. Keep on coming on.
Yee.
And all right, Chris, lovely
In the
having
time it
you
took
on.
to do this broadcast, there have been 800 new genders created.
And I am going to probably date a good amount of them. Anyway, Chris, I hope that you are doing well. I think that happened. I need to
Technical
get
difficulties.
my soundboard working. I was on a quest originally. Peter was supposed to help. We haven't seen Peter in forever. All
He's
right,
been busy producing stuff.
I know. He's been all over because he does Aaron Raw. He does
Jackson Wheat.
He is. Oh my goodness! That's the you know what? Peter has been always tried to tell me about the other guy, and I always forget the other guy. It's Jackson Wheat. Now I'm subscribed. There we go. Okay, Chris, I'm sorry. We have been Skeptic and Ranting on Before the Flood. Lovely having you on, as always. And of course, what are your final thoughts?
Well, my final thoughts are thanks for having me. And I actually just looked over at Ember's channel and I found the very first topic up there. I found, if I can share this, I don't know. It's when do we know we're trans? So I find that I'm going to watch that. I find that an interesting thought. I've just never thought about that. So it'll be an interesting video, hopefully, unless he's terrible. I don't think so, Ember. Just
probably.
He's amazing.
I've heard good things. I can't review myself, but yeah, hopefully you find it educational, enlightening, maybe even enjoyable.
It's certainly caught my eye and my attention, so I'll watch it, and if there's a way, the comment or something on there, I'll let you know what I thought, if that matters. But
all right,
it's just great we can get together, like I said already, and you know, I'm a Christian, and yes, I know it's hard for some to believe. I'm a skeptic, and I have a story there, but now's not the time for that. But you know, ultimately, my apologetic work, if that's the word for it, I don't think it is, but I'll use it, is I believe Jesus, okay, when he says that this is how the world will know is that we love one another. And so that's just my ultimate goal, is to always show you guys love, show everyone love. I don't always succeed. I often, find myself loving myself more than I love others, but I'm working on it. And so that's my goal. And I hope I always treat you lovingly with respect. And I consider you friends. I thank you. And again, nice. I've run into you a couple times before, Ember. Nice meeting you. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, James. And as always, all the kitties and puppies too. So, but thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Thank
Well,
you so very
Chris,
much, Chris.
We hope that whatever stresses are going on in your life right now, that you get through those. And
we're facing some. I think I've told you before that one of the things we did was open our church 24 hours, and some people aren't super happy about it, and that's okay. I get it, and so we'll see. We're kind of going through that struggle right now, but hey, it is what it is, and it's just been a little stressful, more so because you know how people could be, like the people who, I'm more stressed by the people who think they're doing me a favor, and you know how that can be sometimes, like people are really well-intentioned and trying to help you out. It's like, oh, I just really wish you just.
But then it puts pressure on you.
Yeah, or it's just like, sometimes I do this too. Listen, sometimes we speak out of turn, right? We don't know exactly all the details, and so we just kind of, out of good intentions, fill in the gaps. That happens, and so that kind of brings me some stress. Just going, hey, listen, I appreciate you love me, or I appreciate you love the church, or whatever it may be, but let's just let this play out. So, but thanks, guys. Have a good night and a great new year. I'm excited for all the content you guys will put out in the new year, and I'll be here for whatever I can just to enjoy it.
Thank you so much, Chris. My heart goes out to you as well. And I really just want to not only send the love back at you, but to repeat, puppies and kitties. And with that, James W., we have been Skeptic and Ranting before the flood. Let's land this plane.
Well, the plane is landing. The MH370, everything's shut off. We're going to fly into the Indian Ocean. So, yeah. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Thank you, Chris, for the support. We appreciate it. Thanks, Ember, for coming on and supporting the channel, sending your people over. We definitely appreciate that. And as Amy was saying before, we will probably be on sometime this weekend. Amy is dying to do a political stream, so we will indulge her. And then, have a great night, everybody. I love you guys.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! Thank you so very much, James. And hey, it was a thought I had, because it's I just don't want to feel like I did nothing. I mean, if it happens and I did it, then at least I tried. And oh my, I'm just sending love out to someone out there. Double love. And all of our fantastic members out there. And all right, I hope that's right, man, computer scientists. We are coming to the end. However, there are fantastic pin, because I've been sitting here trying to get you, like, I tried again to get Jack's Wheat channel, and it still doesn't want to do it for me. But that's okay. I am going to pin his up there. Did I lose channel? That's right. Let's see if I can find it again. Does that go to his thing? Yes, it does. All right, I'm gonna pin. There's Jackson Wheat. If you don't go to Jackson Wheat's channel, this is just going to send you off to fan boy or girl for T-Jump and Mark, because I like supporting each other, especially in debates. We are a little bit of a debate community, and so it's always good to have people on your side in the the ring there. And with that, those are the two people I'm sending you to. I hope you had a good time. Sending so much love. we have to. What was I? I saw the woohoo and that. James, did you know I may have ADD? I don't know if you knew this.
I think everyone is surprised.
Where is the end of my little script? Anyway, I hope you all had a good time on this episode of The Flood, it being awesome. Before the Flood, Skeptic and Ranting. You can tell what it's like without the script. Where we had a fantastic time having some fun. I'm still looking for it. All right, I'm just going to thank my host, James W., along with our fantastic... Now there's 2 James W's in the back.
Oh, you have a spare James W. I see how it is.
That's right. You always need to take 2. I want to thank my co-host, James W., along with our fantastic panel, Better Than Ever, and Chris. Please don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. If you're feeling super fancy, hit that bell icon to all, because it helps us be sent right out into your algorithms. Sunny and share us. Yes, I am going to make lots of dad jokes. That way you can, start an interesting conversation with the person you're having a fight with about Noah. That's right, 600 years old. See, this is what I mean. You should always have at least 2 of them. That way, if one breaks down, you're driving and you need your second.
Gotta have a spare.
But also, there are many ways to support the channel. You can send in super chats. If you're watching afterwards, you can send in a super thanks. You can join our channel membership. I'm just sending love to someone randomly out there. They know who they are. But thank you so much for all of our fantastic channel members. We also have you listen in the description below, and I'll have to update those. I also am sending love. The best way to support us. Oh, it has our evolving badge system. I always say that it has this because, it just seems like over time you could have something go from simple to complex. Isn't that crazy?
What?
But yeah,
you can't prove
growing
that.
off of corn stalks.
That sounds like a fairy tale.
Whales giving birth to turkeys.
You think you came from a strawberry?
Seriously.
On my DVDs.
That annoys me so much because it's like holding up a uterus and being like, do you think that's what you are? Well, I mean, like that's part of someone. I don't know where you got it, but it's like, yes, the banana, because he asked the same thing. Do you think you're a strawberry? Do you think you're related to a banana? Well, like the banana tree, like.
Could you have sex with a mosquito and bring forth offspring?
Yeah, that's how it works. That's just how you have sex with a completely different species, and then just a new species comes out. Pretty sure.
Because our goats, they only look to have sex with other goats. That's it. They don't look at any other animals. You won't find them humping a squirrel. I promise you that.
It's the last thing I'm going to say. I'm sitting here. I have to press the button on the Patreon. Like, we are always going to be the same species. There's never a time when, like, a human is going to give birth to, like, a wolf. Or, like, a wolf is going to give birth to, like, a tomato. Like, we always give birth to the same species.
Well,
it is
the charts show that both going back to amoeba. So something had to change back there along the line, right?
Love monophily. You're still an amoeba.
True.
Can I say something real quick?
Yes.
I again was, I'm multitasking here. Forgive me. And so I had no idea what or who you were talking about. And then I heard James W.'s impersonation. And It's so good. Like I honestly, I'm just half listening and I hear you guys talk and I go, "What are you talking?" And then I hear James and I just start laughing, I'm going, it's pretty good. That's pretty funny.
I will say though, we still have
Junior
to
has
give
a really good one.
And then my
Dr. Josh
favorite
has
is
the best.
still Dr.
Dr.
Josh.
Josh
That's who I was going to say.
Yeah.
That might
Mhm.
just because of how pretty he is. But
That's true.
Dr. Josh is pretty amazing. But also sending love to R and Ron, Atheist Jr., both produced by Peter. So you guys should check both of those out. And all right, I hit enter. Patreon.com/AVNewman. I am AV Newman, and this entire panel and us all will see you on the next Skeptic Ball Z. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Wow. Oh, check out the Discord and also go visit Mark, T. Jones, or Jackson Wheat. Do.
Do it to me.